And hello and welcome to another brand new episode of The Qualified. I'm Jedi Johnson 22, not joined this week as always by the great Dom Tober or the bad to the bone Bruce Fur. Those guys couldn't. Dom dropped out first, and then Bruce Fur said, "I can't do the show without Dom." Something they feed off each other.
They're kismet.
They're kismet. There's a chemistry there.
Yeah.
But we do have the always steady Styx Boy 73 and the architect joesduelin. What's going on, guys?
Not much on this short-staffed Friday.
Hey,
we will.
The skeleton crew is here, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, we got plenty of.
We are here. We're going to have the same agenda as usual. We're going to have some fun. Going to go talk about some comics and some other stuff, and we're going to kick it off with we have the outside looking in for comics, but also kind of have the outside looking in for the news. This is some stuff that I submit some stuff to Joe. Joe's like, nah, we're not going to do it. It's not classy enough. So since I have the mic, I decide that we will do it at the beginning of the show. Yeah. Well, folks are coming in. So
calling an audible.
Talk about a bad timing. Okay, we all know about the earthquake, right?
Yep.
I don't know what you're doing, dude.
In the old East Coast.
Talk about the earthquake. A man was getting a vasectomy when the earthquake hit.
That's a bad time.
And thought his doctor, talk about bad timing. Thought his doctor was joking when he said, "Is this an earthquake?" So he kind of laughed it off and was like, very funny. And the guy's like, "No, there's an earthquake. I'm going to stop snipping until the shaking passes."
Good idea.
Yeah, that's some bad timing right there.
Yeah, you don't want your vasectomy to be a second circumcision.
Yeah, I assume once things settled. I assume once things settled that the operation was a success. The procedure was a success. So back years and years ago, a little peek into my private life. Years and years ago, after the wife and I had already had 2 children, we were like, "That's enough." My wife's like, "That's definitely enough," and thought about doing the old snip. So I actually went to what I thought was going to be just like, we're going to sit and talk, we're going to talk. So the doctor was this not bad looking redhead, actually. So it's the doctor. And so she's like telling me the procedure, snip, burn, snip. And I was like, okay, sounds like a plan. She goes, okay, Lal, we got to do the inspection to make sure everything's like it's supposed to be. And I was like, trust me, it's like it's supposed to be. She goes, well,
it's cock and balls.
So yeah, we had that. And then of course I was in the military, so they scheduled me for we'll get to you in like 3 weeks. A lot of people want their
a VA vasectomy.
No, this was not VA. This is probably second to the VA. The military where doctors go to practice. And so they called me. So it's about like 3 weeks later, and then they called me. They're like, "Hey, we've had a cancellation." We're in the living room talking on the phone. My wife's next to me. They're like, "Oh, we've had a cancellation. We can get you in day after tomorrow." I was like, "Oh, my wife and I have been talking. We decided we're not quite ready yet. Well, thanks anyway," and hung up the phone. My wife's just looking at me like, "What the fuck? What?" We did not have this conversation.
Oh, no, you did not.
Yeah, so the pipes are still connected. Long story short. Airline passenger fined in Sydney for urinating in a cup. Now, we have all been there, right?
I have mastered long distance driving and pissing at the same time.
I'm at the point now. I think when you reach a certain age, I don't know how old this fellow was. I think when you reach a certain age, you just stop tolerating the bullshit, right? Like if you're going to keep me on the tarmac for an hour and a half, you're not going to keep me from getting up and taking a piss. That's not going to happen. Agreed. Unless you want to be like cleaning up a wet seat.
Yeah. And call me Puddles.
So I don't know what this man's circumstances were, if he was a prick or not. I don't know, but I kind of feel for him.
At least he put it in the cup.
Yeah.
Could just on the floor.
I used to
work. He was just watering the carpet.
I used to work on the PA Turnpike road crew, and we used to have to drive along to all the pull offs, and pick up all the piss bottles that the truckers would throw out all the time. That was horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But I understand. I understand it. So,
but it still had the lid on it.
Well, we got smart. What we would do is we would drive along the side of the berm and run over all the containers first, so you didn't have to just pick up containers filled with piss. So you'd run by one day, run them all over, and then come by the next day and then just
pick them up. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Thank God there was a process.
If you ever wonder why the PA Turnpike smells like urine, now you know.
Now you know.
Yep.
All right, let's say hello to the chat now that we've talked about what's not quite the news. That's what we'll call it. Tommy Longbox getting in before GT. Oh yeah, have a good one, fellows. What's going on, Tommy? Congratulations. Congratulations, Tommy, on beating GT. It's not an easy thing to do.
A rare early entry.
No. Not easy at all.
No.
GT did get it in second. He said, "Hey, thumbs up. Congratulations, Tommy." And then he got a little sour. He says, "You won this one, but he will be back." Ed got in third, but he was hoping to get a little higher. How did this become a competition? I have no idea. I think we made it that. I was hoping I could for once beat GT, but no. Well, hell. Well, there's always next week. Or Ed, thanks for popping in.
GT is omnipresent. He's everywhere at all times.
GT is slacking again. Everybody's entitled to a down week. Just take a little break. So GT has a stellar record. I don't think anyone can. He's damn near the GOAT. I mean, if we had a GOAT, then
he's quite solid.
Might be it.
Yeah.
Bri J, hello guys. Joe, I better see some Harley booty. You're damn right.
Oh yeah.
Damn right. I better see some.
Got 56 slides of Harley covers for you.
If you want Harley,
it's
stay
deep.
tuned. It is detailed, in-depth analysis.
Yeah.
Styx is giving. Okay, here we go. Styx giving up on Golden Girls Marathon to be here. Styx was running late. Styx was a little sweaty. I was like, I don't know.
You're right.
I mean, because we're already without the whole damn show and his nemesis tonight. Yeah. And then Styx was running late. I was like, oh shit.
Hey, and besides, who could pass up a chance to watch
Golden Girls? The boss is watching, or at least he was. Hello, fellows. Bri J, have you ever picked? Oh my God, I'm afraid to read these. Have you ever picked up a shut? Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
No, I mean, no, I didn't. I'm sure I probably picked up a shit bag before, but probably not. Probably not the cuffs.
Hello. Going on leftover. Bri wanted to know. I'm not even gonna put it up here because it's in the chat. Bri wanted to know, have you ever picked up anything with number 2? Ew.
No. Truthfully, the worst part of the job is in the middle of the summer when it was in the 90s. It would be hotter than hell out there, and I mean it's a highway. It gets hot, and you'd come in on Monday morning, and we'd have to get the dead deer that had gotten hit off the road. And if you didn't have a place to kind of toss them, you'd have to get...
what were you doing? You're doing community
You'd have to get the bungee cords with the S-clips. You'd have to get the bungee cords with the S-clips.
Working that PA
You'd have to attach it to the truck and then put the bungee cord up and S-hook up through the jaw of the deer. And then you just drag it a few hundred yards down the road until you can get to a place, and you just hoped that it was big enough and gross enough and bloated enough that it would kind of just dissolve on its way there, so you wouldn't have to deal.
So if they're doing this while they're driving, we're talking about it's hard enough doing number 1. I don't know how you do number 2, but anyway.
Now what they do is those pull offs. They sit there because they're long enough for a truck to pull off and sit there. They just go in the back and then they just chuck it. So.
Too much food. Hey guys, what's going on? Cragden, moving on. Cragden, happy Friday to you, Cragden X. Retrell, hi everybody. What's going on, Retrell? It's gonna be a little shorter show maybe without those two bickering at each other.
Two lovebirds aren't here.
Best show ever. Well, we'll go that far.
50 DC.
Gary Floyd, only GT can beat. Oh. I'm sure that double entendre was not intentional.
Hi, wanker.
And I'm doing double duty watching. Yeah, well, you can do both at the same time, Pete. Dom does it all the time.
Dom's become a pro at it. It's impressive, actually.
I used to think he was looking at giggles, but then he later confessed, no, he's watching SmackDown.
SmackDown.
Yeah. Pete is still enraged about Roman Reigns being dethroned. Oh, I don't know if we're going to talk about. We'll get to him. Joe, please tell me your beard is like Captain Caveman. What's in there?
Oh,
all kind of tools.
I can normally I can fit it. There you go. The pen will hold in there. I could hold a brush in there. I can hold all kinds of things.
Bruce is watching. Hope you're feeling better, buddy.
Thank you very much, sir, for our first
beer money
chat ever.
Appreciate the beer money, buddy.
We've had some before.
He paid me because I did the OLI deck tonight.
We've had a couple of people get drunk enough to give us money before, so it happens. Sorry I couldn't make it. We're going to miss you. We're going to miss you. Dom is really going to miss you. He's probably watching on his phone right now. DJ Wise AZ. How did I spit that out? I work at work, but leaving a thumbs up. Hey, thanks, DJ. Appreciate it. And Ed, this is the final one. It's a fabulous blue beard. It is. And as the summer approaches, the beard is going to go. I hear
it's going. Yep, and it's all going. This is 6 months. The fun thing is, I started growing it when I started joining the show, so you can watch all the past episodes and slowly watch the beard grow
and get whiter.
Yeah, good times.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Even though we're shorthanded, you guys are going to make up the slack like you always do, because the show is all about you. Joe, what are we doing? Are we jumping into outside looking in?
Yeah, we're going to do the outside looking in, and then we'll get into all the other jazz.
Look at some more X-Men covers.
Yeah. Before we start the OLI today, just thoughts and prayers for the family of Jeffrey Vareggi, amazing artist, truly unique artist, passed today, I believe, when the announcement was made. He had been battling lupus for quite a while. He had a heart attack and passed. I believe he was only 50 years old. So just
very young.
Big loss for the community. So just thoughts
great
and prayers
artist. I wasn't that familiar with some of his work because I'm still learning this whole artist thing. So of course, upon hearing this, I wanted to Google and see if I recognized any of his work. I don't have a lot of any of his work, but wow, just the selections that Joe put on the slide here are just gorgeous. Yeah, great stuff.
I really enjoy artists that bring something different to the table, and he did. He had a great blend of bringing his heritage to a genre that doesn't really have that type of representation all the time. So it was great the way he blended those two things together. He had some great work, and it's definitely a huge loss for the community. So
thoughts and prayers with his family. All right.
Yeah. So now that everyone's nice and down, we can move into the outside look at it.
Build it back up.
If you watch the Hot 10, these are the books that just didn't make the list this week. So
I can't believe this one just didn't make the list.
This is a great cover.
So
wait a minute. Are you serious, Styx? Sorry, I don't mean to step on you, Joe, but are you serious?
Yeah, no, I like this cover. I like it.
Okay. So Bruce
Jedi and I are both solidly in the camp of I hate this goddamn cover.
This thing is I just don't know what he was going for. I'm not saying the art is bad. If he wanted to draw the scary as hell Harley, that mission accomplished. But God Almighty,
that's exactly why I like it.
This 1 in 50. It's low volume, but this book just keeps going up. I mean, there was Bruce loves it. The raw auctions. when they're having auctions for this raw, they are exceeding $400. I believe there was a buy it now that somebody bought for $350, but when the auctions are up on this thing is going over $400 raw. I don't believe there's any graded out there yet either, which is even weirder because
give it a month.
Sure
raw's going for this price are just weird. I mean, I understand it's a 1 in 50 versus a normal. You normally have like a 1 in 25 with a Harley or a Catwoman or something like that. But once you're 37 issues in and you have a 1 in 50, I guess it's one of those things that was just caught people by surprise. But
it is different. I mean, if you want different, you got it. It's a 1 in 50. Obviously, it has that going for it, and it's a Harley Quinn 37. So, I mean, people read Harley. So, I don't know if any. I assume that there's. I don't know how many are out there. I'm not going to do the math to even try to. But
I'm going to show you 55 pages of covers that I like better today. So,
yeah,
of Harley that are all many of which are a lot cheaper. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm amazed it's still where it's at because it has been out for a few weeks now. And
the price does shock me a little.
Yeah.
Bruce for contributing. Thank you guys.
Oh, look at that. One graded did sell for $600. So there you go. So they are making their way out, but they're few and far between. There's a bit of scarcity with this one. So I don't know. I'm not chasing it or buying it, but I'll look at it and keep telling Bruce it's
not that price.
It's terrifying.
Next up on the list, Sandman 25. This is a nice, reasonable book, which is kind of one of those ones just to kind of look out for. Dead Boy Detectives drops in 2 weeks on Netflix. Dead Boy Detectives spun out of Sandman universe. This is their first appearance in Sandman 25. This book, I mean, you could find it kind of all over the place in price, but it seems to be firming up now. Before the show was announced with a fixed date and stuff, it was a little bit all over the place, but now it seems to be firming up in kind of a $30 to $40 raw kind of book. So we'll see. We'll see if when the show drops, if it's well received, if this gives this book more of a bump. I love the Sandman series.
I'm more interested in the show. I heard about this show. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen the trailer. I had no idea there was a connection to the Sandman comic. So now I'm a little more excited about checking the show out. I think when Sandman, of course, the first Sandman, what network was that on? Was that Prime?
It was Netflix.
Was that?
No, it was Netflix.
Netflix. Okay. Of course, when that was as popular as it was, I'm assuming people started going out and going through the dollar boxes, the $5 boxes, what have you, and snagging up a lot, trying to maybe build runs and snagging up some of the more obscure issues. So yeah, maybe now's the time to sell those things. You got to buy.
I'm excited to see the show. I really like Sandman. I don't know how much Gaiman was involved in this. I know he was pretty heavily involved in the Sandman series. I don't think he's involved as involved in this one. But I don't know. I enjoyed the universe that they were kind of building with Sandman show. So I don't know. I'm just happy it gives me something else to watch. So because I fly through shows. I will binge. If you have 8 episodes in a season, done. It's done. If they're up there, I'm binging it in a day, and it's done. So more content.
We're going to talk about a show later that I'm going through. I'm not binging it by any means, but David Mack.
Yeah, good old David Mack. I like this. I'm a big fan of David Mack, but I kind of enjoy this cover. It's just very thin volume. You had $175 pre-sale. You got some up there that are listed for $175. We'll see if those sell. But really, the only post-release sale is that $120 sale. So we'll see. We'll see if anyone bites on that 175 or whether
So wasn't there there was some David Mack's a week, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, there was a David Max 1/100s that were on the OL outside looking in. Not the same one, I don't think.
No, this one just came out.
So it'd be kind of interesting to maybe check the pulse on those to see if they're coming down or not. Like, I expect this one's going to come down. This is definitely, I mean, David Mack. It's easy to pick David Mack out of a lineup. Even I can do that. So it's a great cover.
Yeah. It gets the benefit of the X-Men 97 heat. So people were enjoying the show, and that last episode was something. It has a lot of people talking, so it's nice. I mean, I like Mac. I collect a lot of David Mack stuff. Again, I don't buy ratios at this level. I just can't bring myself to do it. It's like $100 for a book that's a modern, that's new. I'm like, I can't do it. But it's pretty. It's a nice gene. If you're a gene collector, it's a good one. The old dollar bin of X-Men 97 spec. So Uncanny X-Men 188 is popping up here. This is the first appearance of the adversary, but he appears as Naze in 188 here. So people are looking forward to him more than likely showing up again when Forge and his short shorts and Storm do that second part of Life Death in the X-Men 97 series. So people are doing villain spec. I never advocate villain spec unless it's Dr. Doom. Major villains, sure. And you take your Jokers or your Riddlers or your Catwoman or whatever. The solid A tier villains, okay, yeah. But B and C tier villains and D tier villain spec it's a little rough. Granted, this isn't a barn burner. High sales are hitting around $15. But these are still books you can find around pretty cheap. Online, books like this are kind of flying. The cheap ones are getting gobbled up pretty fast. But at most of your LCSs and stuff like that, a lot of these books will still be out there at pretty reasonable prices. You should be able to pick this up for, $3, $5. Hell, in some cases you might find it in a dollar bin.
So this is kind of a looky-loo type of buy where you see them on screen and you're like, I've never heard of them. Let's take a look and I'll pick it up and see what there is to see, I guess, right?
Yeah. I mean,
like you said, it's not Dr. Doom or it's not Nimrod or any of the other big X-Men villains.
I'm more of a run collector than anything, so I'll pick up books in lots just to fill runs, and this is a run filler book.
I agree with that.
And speaking of run filler books, this is the first appearance of Adversary in his true form. So this is Uncanny X-Men 227. So again, this is a book where there's volume moving on this book, but it's still cheap. And the ranges are all over the place. I saw one that was a buy it now for $3.25. I saw ones that were as expensive as $15, and there's a lot.
A raw one for $3.25 or graded?
Yeah. No, raw for $3.25. Damn. And then there's there's some that are buy it now for $15. There's a bunch that are up for auction. That's what you're going to probably see with a lot of these books too, where it's like there's a spec buzz on a book, and then people are going to start putting up these books that were $1 to $3 books for auction and hope people run it up to $15 or $20 for some reason. Because a lot of them that are up there right now seem to be for auction. So it's very
this is a
X-Men heavy lift.
This is a heavily printed era too. So
yes, it is.
Because they were mega popular at this point.
Yeah, it's again. This is one of those. To me, these are the types of books. It's like, okay, I collected Uncanny X-Men. I have runs of Uncanny X-Men. You just go into short box and I'm like, this has to be in there somewhere. So like I said, if you got it, might not be a bad time to dump it if you could dump it for $15 and then go pick it back up in 4 or 5 weeks for $1 or $3. So
you get a nice storm chest shot there, so why not?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a run collector, so I like I like picking up all the cheap books in there. I will not buy books like this when they have a run because of a sea level character showing up.
If you sell this for $15, and let's just assume that you get the $6 you need for shipping in the box. Anyway, you'll be lucky if you make $10 off this. $9, $10.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But a lot of people that are selling these things.
I think of Gemini. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Joe Schmo and I occasionally sell a book on eBay, I'm probably not going to list this book. But the volume sellers that sell a lot of stuff on eBay, it's just about volume for them anyway. They're just moving books, so they'll do well with books like this. So that's what we got on the list.
Hundreds of these, I think you see people did just they almost got the whole run on there, and they're like $5 a piece or whatever.
Yeah, I keep seeing people write things rare newsstand, and I'm like, what? It wasn't that rare. That wasn't that rare at that time. So yeah, that is our outside looking in for the week. If you want to,
we did it.
We did it. If you want to read more about what was on the Hot 10 tonight, or if you want to read a little bit more about Pete's insights on these books that we just saw on the outside looking in, you can go over to CBSI.com and read Pete's write-up on all of those books for some more insight. So,
absolutely.
That is what we got. So, boys, you got some pickups? Anyone got any pickups?
I do have some.
I have one.
Like I said, I'm still working through the backlog of stuff for pickups here, but I'm in the pole position, so I'll go first, I guess. I've only got 4 things.
Only 4.
Up there. There we go. So I've got some lyrics, some signed lyrics books. Apparently she supposedly doesn't sign very much because she's doesn't come to the mainland, come to the States. But try to get.
Oh yes, I actually have that book not signed, but that's nice to have it signed because she does not come to. She's normally in Singapore.
Yeah, I guess she was at MegaCon Orlando. At least that's what the cert says. Nice. She was signing at MegaCon Orlando. Got some Vampirella.
Nice
lyrics.
I love her Betty Page work and her Vampirella work.
Got some Harley.
Nice.
Where's her signature?
Was that one remark too? Oh, nice.
No, it's not a remark.
Oh, no, that's right. No, it
is
just on. It is
just
her
signature in pink.
Graffiti.
And then I don't know if this is one of her early. Probably not one of her early works. It's probably just one of her not so ones that we talk about. But Saint Sia cover.
Oh yeah, I actually have that. Yeah.
So that's all I got this week to show.
That's good stuff. It's nice seeing lyrics signed stuff because I don't see it that much. I don't see a lot of her stuff signed, so that is fun. Styx, you want up or you want me to do it while you're putting stuff together?
I've only got one thing to show really. It's a combo of a couple things.
Let's get you.
No clay men.
They're called mummies. They're not clay men.
I know.
They're back here somewhere.
Mud men.
Yeah, all my clay faces there. Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, I was watching another channel on YouTube, and they had Tony and Trish on, and Trish had a giveaway going, and I happened to win that giveaway.
Ooh, nice. Congratulations!
So she sent me some sketch cards from Feral.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
One, I'm not sure the characters' names. I'm sure they have names, or if they're just randoms that she did, and they're all signed.
Nice. I like Trisha's stuff.
Wow.
And with that, she included the one from the new book that just came out this week.
Oh, Uncanny Valley.
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, uncanny. Yeah.
Yeah, the Yosemite Sam type guy here, and Trish being the
she is. She's
lady
nice.
that she is. She included a copy of Pharaoh signed.
That's nice.
I'm not sure what the homage is here. I'm thinking Blair Witch, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it has Blair Witch vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know for sure either.
But I thought that was really nice of her to include that as well. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy these.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
That is a nice collection. All right.
We almost did that uncanny, didn't we? Almost pick that for the first impressions segment this week, but we went another route.
Yeah. We learned a valuable lesson this week.
Yeah.
All right. I can't remember what I showed last week.
Don't let me pick the books.
And I can't remember what I showed on Bruce's show. So if I have some duplicates in here, I'm sorry, but you get to look at pretty girls anyway. So I got some flops.
I don't remember that.
Mad Love.
I think we remember that one.
Yeah, that one would have been.
Yeah,
that one was sticking the crawl.
Glad to see it again.
Yeah, I don't know whether I showed my Udon.
Well, that one's no surprise. I think I've seen that foot before.
Yeah,
I think that is a.
I can't go wrong with that. Then I got one of my Kickstarters, Blam and Glam. This is the Ebaz cover. Big fan of, Bang Bez.
Nice use of electrical tape.
Yes, I like.
Actually,
I like Bang Bez. He doesn't do a ton of covers. He's got another one that's over, I think, in Singapore. So he's one of those artists. It's like every now and then, cover pops up, and I'm always happy. So this is a guy that actually does the book. Richard Morgan. It's all painted covers. So does really nice work. I always like to support him. I of course had to pick up. My love of Conan. And,
we've seen that one too, because I think somebody commented about the red hand slap on the
red hand on the slap. It's nice. It's nice. And of course the Says Micah sketchbook signed.
Oh yeah, those are cool. I still got to pick those up one of these days.
And
still available on her website, I think.
Shout out to another Blam and Glam cover. So I'm waiting on so many Kickstarters that have either just been fulfilled or just being funded. I have, I think, 21 Kickstarters I'm waiting for right now. I'll let you know, Cosmic. I'm trying to remember which issue of Conan that is. It's a recent one, but Udon did the exclusive on that one. So I had to pick up several copies of that for my Conan love, and Hickpot, who did the art, and the big old booty, because you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
All right. Got Fritz Willis pin up today. Little old school Maryland looking pin up. Kind of the old redhead Maryland, which everyone seems to forget about. Early Marilyn Monroe, but a nice spring breeze. They're blowing up the skirt.
Waiting on the mailman.
Yep. All righty. So I first, for the Comic Now and Later, want to have a correction. I put up the wrong artist last week for Bad Rep 1. It is, and I'm very embarrassed by it, it is a Jasmine Darnell cover, who I love, who we actually had as a new artist spotlight 2 weeks ago. So I just wanted to correct that, because she's an artist I like a lot, which explains why I really like the cover. Just we like to correct our mistakes here at the Qualified when we mess something up. For this week, I like this Sweetie Candy Vigilante series. There's a lot of fun covers in it. This is a Dean Yeagle cover. Dean Yeagle is known for his Mandy cartoons, which ran in Playboy for years and years and years. He does not do a lot of comic work anymore. he's getting up there in age as well. So it's nice to see an artist that you don't know how many more covers you might ever see pop up from him and artwork. He also did a lot of the work on the Honey Nut Cheerios bee as well, and did a lot of commercial work for like cereal and stuff like that. So a lot of those comic characters and the old cereals and stuff like that was his work. Next on the list is, and I had this up months and months ago on the Now and Later for the later, and now it's now. I love this cover too much not to mention it again. I love Tula Lote. This is a fun series to Count Crowley, the mediocre Midnight Monster Hunter.
This cover is tricky. So first of all, I love that it says mediocre Monster Hunter. That's pretty cool.
There's a whole series of these Count Crowley books. I'm looking
at her though. I'm looking at the art, and I'm like, for whatever reason, my brain, I see that she's holding the stick, and the stick is coming. I thought that was her arm. I was like, she's got like a stick arm, and then it goes down into her. It was kind of a weird illusion there, but I got it now. Now that I'm oriented, and I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
cool cover.
It's a fun series, and I grab most of Tula Lote's covers anyway. I can't help myself. I enjoy her work way too much not to have her there. And then lastly, on the Nows, we have the Thundercats number 3. This is the 1 in 30, the Jay Lee. There is a trade dress variant of this as well if you don't want to shell out for the 1 in 30. But I like having some of the bad guys on.
Motherfucker!
It's nice to have them there. Jay Lee's work is a lot of fun, and I think when he draws some of the scarier characters and the spookier characters,
Jedi is misaligned.
Does a great job. So those are my nows this week. It was a bit of a rough week this week. There wasn't anything out there that really was really catching my eye, but this Dean Yeagle Sweetie Candy Vigilante was definitely tops on my list. It's something that I had thrown on my pull list quite a while back once it first popped up on previews, because again, I like grabbing artists that you don't know how much more work they're going to have, and doesn't have a ton of work out there anyway in terms of comics, newer stuff at least. So and looking to the future, I love the Barbaric series. They've built out a very nice universe for Barbaric. It's a fun series to read. They do all these short little series. Barbaric Born in Blood, number 3, cover C. The Corin Howell Virgin variant. There is, I believe, a trade dress and a foil variant of this as well. Vault Comics does a nice job on a lot of these covers. This is just a good one. And if you look closely, you can see she has tattoos all over her as well, which is kind of cool. Yeah, they're just like this really light blue
touch.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice cover. Next on the list is Wonder Woman 10, the Daejeon cardstock variant. I put this one up there, number 1, because I like the cover, but Daejeon has 3 covers coming up for DC. There's a Shazam, there's the Wonder Woman, and there's one other I can't remember. Maybe it's Power Girl. I'm not overly familiar with his work, and anytime I kind of see a new name pop up and I see somebody get a few covers, I always like to highlight them, because we get new artists popping in all the time. And sometimes they end up being something big, and to get some of their earlier work is always a nice thing. So threw that one up there. And last but not least, the Batman Gotham by Gaslight, Kryptonian Age. This is a 12-part series. This is the cover B, the Kendrick Lim variant. This is just a good Catwoman. I'm a sucker for a good Catwoman.
I like the way he captured the shadow and the detail to make sure the shadow matches the hand is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I like it's a Gotham by Gaslight, so everything is, is taking place in an older time period. So I always like to see how they kind of do up the outfits to accommodate that time period. So this is kind of a cool Catwoman outfit as well.
Dead Guys Productions. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. So
yeah, if you're a Catwoman fan, and you like a little different look and feel of your Catwomans and like to collect that kind of stuff, it's a good one to grab. So that's what we got on the list for this week. Well, let's get into some news.
Oh boy, what the hell?
Live action. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Last Ronin is getting an R-rated live action movie development. I don't know if you
starring this guy.
This guy's the Turtle Man. If you ever watched Animal Planet, he had a show. This guy had a show on Animal Planet where he would go around and catch skunks and turtles and possums and raccoons. He was known as the Turtle Man.
Somebody's got to do it.
He would frequently live action, and he would go in and wrestle large snapping turtles and all kinds of stuff. So
he just looks like I would like to listen to him talk. I just think I would find that fun.
It was a show that celebrated.
We're completely sidetracked, but
it was a show that celebrated sons of the soil like myself. So I enjoyed watching it. There was an interesting cast of people on that show. But for all you TMNT fans, Last Ronin is getting a live action, movie.
So would this explain the reason that The Last Ronin was number 1 on the Hot 10 this week?
That's what moved that book.
What made it happen?
And the thing is, the news just dropped relatively recently this week, so it's that book's just started to pick up some more velocity. I mean, granted, that was I think it was the slowest release ever of a book outside of maybe that Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, there were a lot of delays. There were a lot of delays with that book, or at least maybe not number 1. I'm trying to remember. Maybe it was number 2 that was delayed.
Like 1 came out, and then it took forever to have 2.
But there was a lot of those books, right? I mean, that book was like they printed the shit out of that book.
They printed the shit out of that book. Plus, there were a lot of exclusives, so the ratios got watered down as well. But
that's funny. Just the word goobers makes me laugh. I don't even think I need context. Just somebody type the word goobers, and I think I'll just laugh.
I was just trying to be gentle.
This is cool. I like the fact that they're going to do an R-rated. I mean, I didn't read The Last Ronin. I know it was dark, right? Or suppose it's a dark story. So good. I think this will be fun. Interesting. Yeah, this is a good deal. Hope it works out. Hope it's successful.
Yeah, Mojo. I don't know. People might forget about how many exclusives were out and how many of these books were out there, because it did kind of water down the. At a certain point, the A cover was going for more than I think the ratios at some of those points. But it's a solid story. If they do it justice, it's always Turtles is weird to me because every time they do it, it's like it's a completely different thing. It's like, are we going to do some weird, funny kind of Muppet looking turtles? Are we going to do some kiddie animated turtles? Are we going to do some dark turtle? It's kind of all over the place every time they do it. It always has a very different feel. So this will be interesting to see what they end up coming out with, but Paramount's going to take it and run with it. So we'll see what we get.
And hopefully this guy's in there at least as a cameo.
I hope so. I couldn't say anything about Fallout other than it's very good. It's very, very good.
So I started watching this last night with my son. My son was very excited. My youngest son, very excited to see this. I know absolutely nothing about it. So except for it was a video game. And so I irritated the holy hell out of my son asking questions, because I just didn't. We watched episode. Now all 8 episodes dropped, right? So, but we watched 1 and 2, because these are not your short little like Bad Batch 30 minutes episodes.
I watched all 8 yesterday, Jedi.
They're about an hour a piece, right? Anywhere from like 50 to 70 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I think the shortest is like maybe 45 minutes up to like 50 minutes. Yeah,
I like it, but I had to get used to it. I had to ask my son. I'm like, because what I didn't understand, for those that like me that haven't played the game or aren't familiar with it, is that this is a role-playing game where you create your own characters. Because I kept asking my son, is she in the game? Is he in the game? Is the ghoul in the game? And he kept telling me this answer. He's like, no, that these characters are just in the universe. They're not in the game. So I'm like, what? I don't understand.
I know absolutely nothing about the game other than my kids have some of the toys. My kids were never into the game, but they had some of the toys.
Well, apparently you create your own characters, your own.
Beats the shit out of me. I was just like,
Styx, you're the gamer that we got here. Do you play this game?
I've never played it. I played the mobile game once, and that was about it.
All I saw is Walton Goggins is in it, and I was like, I'm in.
Show isn't canon. Okay. All right.
I mean, that's all I need to see. I was like, Walton Goggins.
I am getting old. Yes, all true. All boy, the chat is just throwing facts out there. Appreciate it.
It was. I really enjoyed it. It took me probably 1.5 episodes to be like, okay, I'm going to watch this whole thing right now. And I was hooked enough.
Well, we're going to watch more tonight. I think we're probably going to, well, it's a Friday, it's a weekend, so neither one of us work tomorrow. So we may get through 3 episodes tonight, maybe 4. But yeah, so this is the thing that, of course, my son, you know, God bless him, he tolerates me to an extent, and then he's kind of like, Dad, you're asking, stop asking so many questions.
Watch the show.
But I guess my question to the chat, who maybe might be nicer to me than my own son, is how can you have canon in a show where you create your own characters in the game? I guess there's lore, but there can't be canon. I don't know, man.
There has to be a larger, there has to be the larger story arc of how everything got to the way it is. But like I said, I don't know. I've never played it. I've always loved Walton Goggins, and I was like, he looks like he gets to be full Walton Goggins in this movie or in this series, and he was pretty good. I could have lived with more of him. His character.
I want some backstory. I mean, no spoilers. Don't spoil it because I'm watching it too. But I want a little more backstory about the Grogan's character, the ghoul, whatever. Because
they do a fantastic. I'm not going to spoil.
Okay,
it for
good.
You,
I really want to know what happened to his daughter, how he became what he is, et cetera, et cetera. But no spoilers. No spoilers.
They do a great
one thing
job
I take
of
away with those
backfilling.
little what do you call the sticks that heal anything?
Yeah.
No matter you get a hole in your chest, you just stick that stick in there. I need one of those.
It's like I said, I thought they did a really good job. I'm normally not the biggest fan of, hey, let's take a video game property and turn it into a movie or a TV show. But that's because I'm old and video games didn't have stories when I played them, really.
And that's been proven to be very difficult to do.
Yeah. But I mean, more modern games have, pretty complex universes that they build or stories that they build around and stuff like that. I mean, Last of Us did well as a series. People still rave about that.
We're just touching on it as a bunch of, except for Styx, some old men that don't really know what we're talking about, or we have no point of reference. But Styx is ancient. I said old, and then we have Styx who's ancient. But
okay, fair enough.
Sorry, I didn't mean to slight you. Didn't mean to indicate that you were, young. I think tomorrow on SNS, if you want to get down and maybe I don't know what they're doing tomorrow on SNS, but I know Matt was really digging this show too. In our one of our chats, he said that this show was great. I think he really liked it. So tune into SNS tomorrow. Those guys will probably dig a little deeper and know a little bit more about what's going on.
I love the fact that I had no functional knowledge of the game or anything else like that.
I like that too.
And I watched the whole series and enjoyed it.
That's why I like the Halo show. My son hates it because, you know, he doesn't wear his mask or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I get it. I grew up on Boba Fett. I understand what it's like to have a mask removed and go, oh,
this is the way.
No. All right. All right. What else we got?
People were very, very happy with the little previews that were shown for Transformers 1. It's going to be the animated show that will talk about the origins of Optimus Prime and Megatron. So at Cinecon, they talked about this, apparently showed some stills of the 3D animation, stuff like that. People said it looked fantastic. So Hemsworth is doing, I believe, the voice of Optimus. And the guy from Atlanta is doing Megatron's voice. God, I forget his name. Somebody will say it in the chat eventually. So yeah, it'll be very interesting. They also teased during that the crossover movie, saying that they are considering doing the G.I. Joe Transformer crossover, which again, they should, because they teased the damn thing at the end of the last Transformers movie. So it'd be quite wasted momentum at this point between what's going on with Skybound, with the comic books, and having teased it in a live action movie. For them not to do it seems to be kind of stupid, but maybe they'll get a G.I. Joe movie right eventually.
So Chris Evans is doing the voice for Optimus Prime in this version.
In Transformers 1?
Peter Cullen did it originally.
Yeah, no, I thought Chris Hemsworth was doing the voice in...
or Chris Hemsworth, I'm sorry, you're right. Chris Hemsworth.
Yes. So apparently he studied the original a lot because he wanted to try to be as close as possible. But I don't know.
He's still going to have a slight Australian accent, I'm sure.
My brain is screwed up with Chris Hemsworth because that Furiosa trailer with the fake nose just keeps throwing me off. So.
Playing, what's his name there? Bob or whatever his name is.
So, yeah, we'll see where this
I'll
goes.
add this to the list of animation that I need to watch. I'm sure I'll get.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's a Paramount project. I'm guessing since it's animation, they'll dump it up to some streaming service I'll be able to watch it for free on. So, fingers crossed.
I mean, if this picture is part of that animation, I think it looks good. I mean, it looks different. So I'm all right with that. I don't need Optimus Prime to look like a 1984 Mack truck.
There's a lot of really solid voice actor talent in it. I mean, there's named people doing a lot of the voice work for this. So yeah, hopefully they put some time and money into it.
Well, and if they do a series, you're not going to get those guys in that series. So
no,
just saying.
Transformers. It's a Transformer. They're going to make a Running Man remake, and Glenn Powell is going to star. Edgar Wright is going to redo it, which makes me happy. I like Edgar Wright. I just watched Baby Driver again like 2 days ago. And I love the movie The Running Man. I'm not sure how it'll play now because the original was so good.
Yeah, who's going to be the Richard Dawson?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who's going to be Richard Dawson? Who's going to be his love, the girl, the woman, the chick, whoever? I mean, who's going to need more info? But yeah, this guy looks familiar. I guess do we need it? Yeah, sure. Why not? He was
in Top Gun Maverick, I believe.
That's where I've seen it. You're right.
He was one of the pilots.
He was in that romantic comedy with Sydney
Sweeney I'm with
that
Leftover.
did better than Madam Web.
Yeah,
I was out at the same
sure
time.
Remake it. I'm sure this guy's a great dude, very talented. But do we need more remakes? Other than the Fall Guy, really looking forward to the Fall Guy.
I'm looking forward to the Fall Guy as well.
For some reason.
But I don't. I like.
But no, before we move on to this, can I say something that has nothing to do with this, really? But on Brucifer's Monday show, Monday Madness, Brucifer, say something if you're still with us here. They were talking about I don't even remember what the subject was. Joe, you were on the show. You guys were talking about movies, right? Movies that I can't remember what the criteria was.
Was it the remake?
But
remake of a movie one?
Styx picked Logan's Run and then didn't show up for the show. I remember that, right?
Oh, it was sci-fi.
Yeah,
it was just pick a sci-fi movie.
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
So who was it that covered it? So I think Dom or somebody talked about Logan's Run. And I was like, you know what? I've never seen Logan's Run. I'm going to watch it because Bruce first said it was on Tubi. So I'm like, no, I'm going to watch it. Why not? I've never seen this show. I was expecting that show to be kind of like The Running Man. And I was like,
it's not like The Running Man.
No.
Sucks.
It is not like The Running Man at all.
Oh, God. My wife even started watching it. She goes, why are you watching this? I was like, I don't know. Styx said it was good.
I like them. It's a movie. If you think about the time that it was made, it's about a time where they had that don't trust anyone over 30 mentality.
Yep.
And so when you reach a certain age,
you gotta
they
read
send you out
into
into you got to remember the time it was made. And some movies are like that, and that's one of them. It's a movie made for the time that it was.
Like I said, I'm not necessarily looking forward to this remake because I love the original.
I'm taking vitamins now, AOA. I think it's helping.
I wish people would go back and remake movies that weren't good and make them good versus taking movies that were really good and then remaking those.
I don't want a remake of Geely, please.
Maybe they can make it better. They can't.
The old man they met in the library in that movie was driving me crazy. I was like, shut the F up, dude. Just stop talking. Stop talking.
All right.
Yeah.
So CinemaCon 2024, Marvel was there. So we got an Isaiah Bradley appearance and a Harrison Ford appearance as General Ross in the new Captain America movie. I know AOA is happy. Gets to see Falcon take the mantle of Cap.
I'm excited to see Harrison Ford. I really thought they should have picked Magnum PI there, Tom Selleck to be that.
It's Thunderbolt Ross. He'd be a decent Thunderbolt Ross. Running Man was fantastic. The Rogues Gallery in Running Man was fantastic. AOA, you have to give it that much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you love your Falcon.
We're back to Running Man. Remember they had the big fat guy that like
the opera singer
Christmas tree.
Oh yeah,
it was all lit up.
God, yeah, what was his name?
I had him as an avatar for a while. Oh God, I forget his name. They were all great. They were all fantastic. It was a fun. When you have movies like that, and you have a good Rogues Gallery. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Sam Elliott would be fine as Thunderbolt Ross. Wasn't he already Thunderbolt? Was he Thunderbolt? Who was Thunderbolt Ross in the original Hulk movie? Was it Sam Elliott?
The original, wasn't it? Damn, who was it?
In the Banda one.
The Banda, I don't know. No one memorable. Apparently.
No, it was somebody. I just can't.
I mean, I don't know.
His son, that's who would play if they remade Escape from New York. Wyatt would play Snake. It was Sam Elliott. Yeah, because I have a feeling.
Oh, was it Sam Elliott? Really?
Yeah. Yep. Sam Elliott.
I have a feeling Wyatt Russell is going to be remaking a lot of movies. I'm waiting to hear that there's going to be a Big Trouble in Little China movie starring Wyatt Russell at some point as well. So we also got some more Deadpool, and they're leaning into we're edgy and can say the F word. Kevin Feige trying to be cool, dropping F-bombs. So I guess they're pushing the fact that yes, they're going to make an R-rated movie. So that's a good thing in and of itself. I can look past the cheese of them being so giddy that they're going to be able to say swear words. But it's something I think they need to get into. They need to start making more adult rated stuff so that they can veer off and do other things, so that they're not just stuck on this one tangent of the same feel of every product that they put out. I was promised something with Echo and I did not get it. So I'm still pissed about that. You know, I was promised violence. I get a little bit of violence, and then I got a lot of boring. So let's see what they can do and step it up. And yes, I agree. You put her in some skimpy outfits. I'm looking forward to that. Anything else come out? Yeah, you had some horror movie news too, didn't you, Jedi?
Oh, well, we didn't do it, so I didn't dig into it. But no, forget it. I don't know. There were a couple of horror movies that there was some news on, but I don't remember what it was.
Was it the trailer for Bambi's Revenge or whatever?
I saw a little bit of that.
Oh, yeah.
That's
The Vengeance of Bambi, whatever it's freaking called. I think those movies are kind of lackluster crazy, but not in my wheelhouse.
You sometimes you got to lean into the cheese.
Oh, absolutely.
The problem is those movies are doing well enough that like the original ones were made on such a shoestring budget of barely anything, and then they made money, so they made another one with a little bit bigger budget, and then that did okay, and it made money, so they make another one with even bigger budget. so
I don't know if this is new or not, but they're remaking Blair Witch?
Yes, I had heard that as well. If they're doing something,
Why?
I don't know whether it's a remake or whether
wasn't the whole allure and the sell of Blair Witch back in the days when we were stupid and didn't know any better was that, oh my God, this is real. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there was
right.
a little
And
legit
then they made Blair Witch 2.
Oh yeah, and then they screwed it off with that. Yeah,
They screwed it up by making Blair Witch 2.
Yeah, I mean, it came out relatively fast. That okay, this isn't a real thing, and it was just a movie. And like you said, the appeal after that was just kind of like it kind of started that whole found footage kind of phase of movie making. Those VHS movies are fucking crazy. I watched a handful of those. I was like, I
think those are made pretty much near me here in New York.
Yeah,
somewhere.
they're unsettling. But I can't watch shit like that anymore because I can't watch shaky cameras for like 2 hours, hour and a half.
Oh yeah,
it drives me insane.
Dropping Dramamine every hour.
Yeah, like balance that shit out. Need some stabilization.
Yeah.
So.
I'm scrolling through trying to. Oh, they're doing Smile 2. I guess they're doing a Smile 2. That was one of the ones. I'm just scrolling through what I want to.
Smile had the best viral campaign that I had seen in a long time. It was brilliant the way they did the viral campaign for that. They just shoved people behind home plate on baseball games, just sitting there with that smile on their face, and they got picked up by news stations and stuff like that. It was brilliant. I always appreciate good marketing.
Smile 2 trailer. Smile 2. The curse infects a pop star's fans in a horrifying fashion. Whatever that means.
The movie was creepy.
Yeah, but Fallen was better, right? I think we talked about that. Fallen was better. I mean,
I'd love to see. Terry Flores mentioned Faces of Death. I remember Faces of Death movies. As a kid, there was nothing better than like one of your friends be like, "I've got Faces of Death." You know, like I'm there.
Yeah.
That's another one. We thought that shit was real. What is it? Scary Movie? They're rebooting Scary Movie? What? No.
Yeah. I
kind of
can't get into any of that crap.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Kind of like a 20 years later type thing.
So
a whole new crew.
Jedi pointed this one out to me, so I threw it up in there. There was a play or a performance in the UK. They had a trigger warning before the show that the performance contained sounds of people eating. So people who have misophonia might find some parts uncomfortable. And then they also warned them that there's orange. People are eating oranges during the performance as well. So they wanted to give a warning to people with citrus allergies. So
I mean, this made the news circuits this week about misophonia, which I'd never heard of. People that get triggered or whatever by people eating fruit where there's oranges. Some people were talking about eating peaches. People that
I dislike hearing people eat. I'd like to punch people when I hear them eating.
Well, what this reminded me of, though, is something not even associated with food, but there's a video out there that I'm not going to pull it up because I wouldn't be able to get the sound to work anyway. But apparently there's this girl. It's a hilarious video of this girl, whether or not she's faking or not, I have no idea. But the sound of styrofoam, either rubbing, really triggers her. She damn near throwing up at the sound of styrofoam rubbing against each other, or taking a lid off a styrofoam, opening a styrofoam carry-out carton or something like that. It's just like
open Tupperware.
Yeah, I don't know. You could probably Google girl phobia styrofoam or something. It's a funny video because she is just like, if she's faking it, then give her an image.
I'm sure someone's got one of those 10-hour videos of people doing that. Watch 10 hours of this girl opening up the styrofoam container.
And Cosmic Dom is traveling with the missus. So
Dom's traveling today.
He's spending some important time with his lady. So
I don't know if I have anything like this. Like nails on the chalkboard doesn't bother me. No, I just get angry at stuff like cell phones in the theater and stuff like that. sounds and stuff. I don't think there's any sounds that bother me. Like, I'm trying to think.
There's not much to,
other than Wanda Sykes' voice kind of irritates the shit out of me. But other than that,
I can't even do it.
None of those things would cause me fear. They cause me anger, but definitely not fear.
Not even Wanda Sykes.
Don't Google girl phone. Maybe not. Maybe be careful when you're Googling that kind of thing. But,
don't do it at work. That's fair.
Use a VPN. So I liked in that news article that Cate Blanchett spoke out, and I like that a lot of actors are starting to speak out a little more about this. It was like, come on, just there's a relationship between the audience and the artists, and you don't need that bullshit before to throw that off.
I don't want to sound insensitive or anything, because obviously, we grew up in a different time where, you didn't necessarily concern yourself with other people's issues, but the whole thing we see on TVs now is like, this show contains strobe light effects, and they,
I love smoking. This contains smoking, not like drugs. Yeah. This contains smoking. I'm like,
I mean,
I grew up.
I feel for people that might have epilepsy or something, and if I don't want to offend anybody, but we didn't do we didn't do all those warnings 30 or 40 years ago, and I don't know if people were.
Well, there's whole websites dedicated to that kind of thing too. There's a website where you can go to look up things in books that they'll tell you if it's got trigger warnings in books.
Oh yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
It's a real thing, but it's it gets to be too much sometimes.
As long as they don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's just my old man moment saying, "We didn't do that when I was a kid." It's not that does it bother me when they put that little warning up there. No, I just kind of roll my eyes a little bit and move on. It's not like it doesn't trigger me necessarily, but I just like, where's it going to stop? Where's it going to stop? I guess. Yeah.
It doesn't.
The show contains orange eating.
It doesn't bother me, but if it gets that detailed and about everything, sometimes it can ruin the experience of just experiencing something as it's happening. Within there, what bothers me more is when they start to actually go in and start to edit things because of things they think might trigger people.
Yeah. Censorship, censoring.
That's why I stress to everybody. People laugh about who still buys DVDs and stuff like that. You know what? They can't edit physical media. If you own it,
Yeah.
You own it. That's the version you own.
People that still own the original Star Wars VHS are probably the only ones that really get to watch Han shoot first anymore. You can't watch it unless you got one of the older tapes.
Yeah. So it's always a good shout out to, hey, you know what? If there's something you really, really, really like, it doesn't hurt to buy physical media to have that. If it's something that's
that's a great point. That is a great point.
Yeah.
I just found this story weird.
I guess this triggered somebody.
In Chechnya, they've reportedly banned music that is too fast or too slow. They've ruled that all music should correspond to a tempo of 80.
Did they say why? Is there a reason behind it?
No. I just think everything needs to be tempered.
Yeah. You have to be able to do your Russian dances to it. Yeah.
So no speed metal in Chechnya.
Hey.
So just a little heads up there. I was just like, of all things, like I would think there's probably more important pressing needs in Chechnya than regulating the tempo of music, but
it's just gonna make people want it more. They're gonna feel like, there's gonna be a
black market for speed metal in Chechnya.
Yeah, what do you call the old clubs that, like, the old shut-in clubs,
the old speakeasies?
Speakeasies, yeah. There's gonna be like the old shut-in speed metal speakeasies.
Yeah, that's very weird.
We heard bolt thrower coming from this building.
What's shaking my wall?
And last on the news, I just found this amusing. This woman is an American expat living in Australia, and she had to change her name. Her name is Devon, but now she has to go by Dev. Apparently, Devon is a lunch meat that's made from sausages sold in Australia. So she was getting teased quite a bit. So
okay, so she didn't have to change her name. She chose.
No, she chose to. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Because as a woman, I can imagine being named packaged meat probably isn't probably the best thing. Yeah. So just little word to the wise out there. If you're going to be traveling to a foreign country, maybe look at your first name and see if it translates into anything weird before you go.
I could never go to the UK and live then, because my name, I think, in the UK would translate to horny wiener.
So it's not too far off. Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, okay.
Not too bad.
That's
too bad.
I mean, there's a lot of names, like even in the US, you get people, and it's the parents that do it. Your last name's Meyer. Let's call him Oscar. Oscar Meyer.
I went to school with the Richard Head. I don't know why somebody would do that to their child, but they did.
We have a student in our school, and that student's name is Hanna-Barbera.
Wow.
Yeah, I would not have done that.
For a reason.
Yeah, probably the wrong reason. Oh, I really like Scooby-Doo. Well, name her Velma then.
just a reminder, everybody out there, not everybody should be a parent.
I think this girl was probably getting attention for other reasons other than her name.
I'm sure as well, but I'm sure the name didn't help.
No.
But I thought it was a nice friendly reminder if you happen to be traveling to a place where you might not be familiar with. Maybe check it out. Maybe make sure your name doesn't mean something
alias
or derogatory or lunch meat.
Yeah.
What do we got this week, Jedi? For
oh my God, I feel like I mailed it in on That's Not a Comic sale of the week this week. I don't know. I just really, I can't even remember what I started off trying to find, and then last week we kind of talked about Disney souvenir books and things. So I was like, you know what? Let's talk about pennants, or souvenir pennants this week. The thing about these flags or pennants, whatever you call them, is I remember growing up going to places. My my family. I was a single mom, raised 2 boys, probably a lower middle class income, school teacher's income. So when we went places, it was a big deal, and we definitely didn't. She wasn't one of these parents that's just gonna buy me whatever I wanted. She was not like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times these flags or pennants were usually like the cheapest souvenir that you could kind of get.
They're normally felt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're just like, and probably still are today. My son, when we go places, my son will buy these things from, like, we went to the NBA Hall of Fame, we went to the NFL Hall of Fame, we went to some baseball games in Japan, and he has, souvenir pennants from all those places hanging on his wall.
Sure.
So anyway, very common, I think, for people back in the day. What? I never knew.
He always said he's never known anyone who's owned a pennant. I buy them when I buy the Pittsburgh Penguin ones when they win a Stanley Cup. I buy the Stanley Cup ones as a memento. You'll get there someday. The Sabres will do something someday. Styx, it's okay.
Not my lifetime. We can't even make
the
these
things probably, considering the time on these things probably were less than $1 on some of these things to buy. The 89 one might have been $1.50 back in the day. I don't know, not like I remember, but we have a Disneyland souvenir pennant from the 1960s that sold for $245. Best offer accepted back in mid-January. The blue one, and then pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a Disneyland souvenir pennant, Splash Mountain opening day from 1989, sold for just under $100 on 2 bids back in January. And then lastly, Disneyland souvenir pennant from 1955, sold for $125 fixed price back late February. So it's always a little weird to see the older ones sell for less than some of the others, but
and the
condition, I guess.
I mean
the
ones now are relatively sturdy. Back then they weren't the most sturdy things in the world. They weren't bad, but they could suffer from some fall apart.
Yeah, I mean they were basically. Back then they were like almost t-shirt material. Right? What we have now.
I mean they were felt. They would weave a little something in there, a little nylon or something, just to give it a little more sturdiness. But yeah. So, I don't know. It's
AOA's like, I don't want a flag. I want the most expensive thing in the souvenir shop, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna yell all the way home.
I never ever liked buying souvenirs anywhere I went. If I was at a theme park or something like that, because then you're stuck. I would never remember to go at the end of the day. And if you're in the store in the middle of the day, then you got to carry that shit around all day. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah. You always buy your souvenirs on the way out.
Yeah. Yep.
But then everything's always picked over by the end of the day.
Yeah. It's a pennant.
There's no Bart on the name, the license plate.
So this is
just Bart.
What are we going to cover next week? I have no idea. We'll see.
That's what makes it fun. You never know. You never ever know what you're going to get.
Bottle caps. We'll do bottle caps maybe, because apparently that's what they use for currency in that freaking Fallout movie.
Oh yeah. I do like bottle caps. My buddy made a bar. He's a great carpenter. He made a full bar out of bottle caps.
Out of bottle caps? Oh, cool.
And
those are cool.
Did the pour over on them, and it was nice.
Yeah. So this week's first impression, Joe and I kind of made fun of it a little bit earlier when you kind of learned your lesson. Yes. We had a choice of one of the things that Joe recommended, we couldn't find digital, so we really couldn't use it. But there was this, and then there was the Uncanny Valley. Uncanny Valley.
Yeah. I should have done Uncanny Valley.
We decided, actually, I should say, I decided to go with this because I was expecting something a little different. But here we go. I
don't know
what we got. Dungeons and Dragons: The Thief of Many Things. I enjoyed the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Obviously, I enjoyed the cartoons growing up. So I was like, okay, this might be kind of interesting. It might be fun. Cover appeal for this one. There's only 2 covers. We had the A cover by Max Dunbar and the B cover by Jesse Lonergan.
Yeah, the covers were okay. I mean,
I like the A cover. The B cover is kind of, I don't know, Scotty Youngish to me a little bit, but it's okay.
Yeah, I didn't mind the covers. I was like, oh, maybe this won't be so bad. I was wrong.
Yeah. The writing. So I was. So first of all, I was a little confused at the very beginning, right? Because at the very beginning, we have what one of the main characters. We actually have see the back of the head of the other main character talking to this person over a gambling debt or whatever. And the guy we see the back of his head comes in and says he'll cover her debts or something. And I'm like, her? That's a girl. That's a girl.
Yeah.
That confused me at first because I thought it was a dude. But anyway, she's not an important character anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But I kind of had to go back and read that page like 2 or 3 times. Like, who are we talking about? Are we talking anyway? And then we get to this. Thank God it was only this one little panel here, the middle panels. I had to blow up the font on my screen.
I was that made me angry.
It made me angry too. I was like, if the whole thing is like this, I may not even finish this thing.
I was like, it's bad enough I'm reading a Dungeons and Dragons book. Now I got to zoom in to be able to actually even read the speech bubbles. Yeah, there were a few. So it's not a lot of panels, but there are a couple pages where it's like, oh, there's a lot of words on this, and they made the font really, really small. And I know I'm a dumb old fuck, but it was really, really small.
It was small. Yeah, it was very small.
The site I read it on had pretty good font, so I was.
Oh, you can read it? Yeah, I mean, I could blow it up and read it. It was just like, it was the initial like, whoa, that is so tiny. But it was all worth it for this one panel. I had to put it in here. So you all have read it. So she's talking to the prince who's end up being one of the people that chased them throughout the show. Then about this deck of cards. If you see him, don't touch his deck. It's like, I never touch a goblin's deck. I thought that was funny.
I thought it was, and then the more I kept reading the whole thing, I was like, I don't even know if that was intentional.
I don't. Yeah. Same way. I'm like, was that intentional, or is it just me? I'm like, I never touch a goblin's deck. I was like, okay.
Am I trying to find something interesting in this book?
Yeah, that was. I actually kind of laughed out loud a little bit when I read that. That was. The art. The art was okay. I don't have a problem with the art.
The art was fine.
Yeah, the art was. It had told the story. The art was fine. I don't have a problem. We had a lot of different characters, creatures, entities throughout this book. I think they were all drawn pretty well so that you kind of figure it out. I don't know how long this book was, but it sure seemed longer.
It was long.
It felt long. And it was a one shot, right? It's
a one shot. Yeah. It felt a lot longer than your average comic book of 30, was it 32, 36, whatever.
Yeah.
This definitely
there were
67 pages.
Yeah.
Okay,
it felt
like
167.
It was long. I was ready for this. I was ready for it to be over. I really was. I was like,
After I think I had like 4th or 5th page, I was like, I'm going to struggle through it, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I think I actually had to take a break. I think I started reading it. The wife said dinner's ready, and I was like, thank God. So I went down and ate dinner and then come back and finished it. But internal art was good. Was it an interesting story?
I don't even still understand what happens. Like, let's go to one place, do things with cards. Let's go to another place and do things with cards. Let's go to another place and do things with cards.
Yeah, I almost think maybe if this hadn't been a one shot, maybe if they had broken it up into 3 issues, maybe it would have been a little better. But for one, by the time you get to the end of the story, you're just tired of reading because it is so long.
I learned a valuable lesson. I never want to read Dungeons and Dragons ever again. It's something like I enjoyed, like you. I enjoyed that last movie that they had. I thought it was fun, and I could watch this genre if I'm just sitting back and taking it in, I don't want to put the effort into reading it.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a fun story, but it wasn't.
No.
It was not fun.
No.
Which, it takes me to the next slide. Original or a bit familiar. I wish it was familiar. Thankfully, if you keep reading all the way through, you get an advertisement that apparently IDW is coming out with the Saturday morning cartoon Dungeons and Dragons, which is what I hoped this was. So I actually had hoped that maybe it was a bit familiar, but it kind of wasn't. It was actually not a fun read at all.
Nothing you want to remember.
No.
Yeah.
Keep reading. Well, it was a one shot, so we really don't have to worry about it. But the answer would be no if it wasn't. I would. Keep reading.
This is a hard no for me.
Yeah. I'll assume there's more in this universe that they write about, but I wouldn't.
I was wondering too if maybe there was some, because we've done that before, right? We've read a comic on here only to have someone say, "Well, there's some
other things for
context." Right? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't know if there was any history to this one. Maybe there was. It almost felt like there should have been. It did try to explain some of the backstory, but again, you just
nothing really happened that was interesting. Things happened, but none of it was interesting.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem, I don't know, the progression in it was like, okay.
I mean, there was a part where she's using the cards and these demons are showing up. I was kind of interested in that, but I didn't understand why they were showing up.
And then that part's over. Then they go somewhere else, and then something else happens with cards, and then
the double cross happened, right? We had the double cross. We had her best friend double cross her, or what was her best friend? So I thought, oh, okay, so that's interesting. But then even that it didn't last long. It just got. I think
I like when he would do the cool thing where the hand would come out of the ground, where he'd make the big stone hand, whatever, come grab her out of the ground. That I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but that's not enough for me.
I don't know. I think if they had broken it up where we had a little more time to digest each issue, maybe a little bit, but I don't even know if that would have helped. Option meter, dead zero for me, please. I don't think this thing needs to be out.
I was reading it thinking, I always read it thinking about these categories that you have broken out, and option meter was on my mind while I was reading it, because I like to read it while I'm reading it, thinking about would it be optioned while I'm reading it, and I'm like because I'm thinking, okay, well, it's Dungeons and Dragons, it's a one shot, maybe maybe this would make a good if they had some anthology animated story or something. I wouldn't even want to watch that. So zero, never.
It's cool.
That's all. Thank God that's over. Hopefully pick something.
Now it's time for some trivia with Styx.
Damn.
What the hell is this?
That's me as a Cro-Magnon man. I just came out of the sludge that was.
We're giving some people some nightmare fuel to get them ready for some trivia.
Has no lips.
Hey, no spoilers.
All right, Styx.
All right, so welcome to return week of the qualified trivia night. This week is Harley Quinn trivia. It's a couple of different looks for Harley Quinn over the past few years. As always, let's begin. Now, question number 1. What is Harley Quinn's first appearance in canon for DC Comics? Is it Batman Adventures number 12? Is it Batman Harley Quinn number 1? Batman Adventures Mad Love? Or Batman Thrill Killer?
Okay, so the key word here I'm going to say is comics, because she was on cartoons before she was in comics, right?
The key word I feel in this question is canon.
Canon? Really? Well, I'm going to say A, because that's the one that gets all the love. So if it's not, then news to me. I'll say Batman Adventures 12, because that's the one that everyone always wants. All kind of answers up there.
Yeah, we're getting all over the place here. Yeah, which is good. Yeah, I'll agree with Joe. The
A and C, trick question.
the key word in that is canon for DC Comics.
All right.
What's the answer?
Right.
I don't know. If it ain't 12, I don't know what it is.
So the answer is Batman Harley Quinn #1. This is her first appearance in canon as an actual character in the DC Comics universe.
So is this book, I recognize this cover, but is this book more sought after than Batman Adventures 12?
It's
growing in popularity, I think, because of the canonity of it.
It has the value.
Right.
Maybe not 100% the value of Adventures 12, but if you're looking in terms of what's the next pricey Harley Quinn book, this would be it.
Yeah.
It's So that whole Adventures world is not within the normal DC canon.
Right. That's considered Elseworlds, I guess. That's like a it's a offshoot universe.
The animated universe, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Question number 2. Which of these abilities does Harley Quinn not have? Is it enhanced strength? Is it a toxic immunity? Is it that she can emit laughing gas? Or
I
D,
some laughing gas earlier today.
Gymnast? Well, it happens.
Did you create these, or did you get these somewhere, Styx? I need to know if I need to crawl inside your brain or not.
Well, okay. Thank you for saying brain.
I don't want to insult you.
I do get these from somewhere.
Okay. Toxic immunity. I'm going to say toxic immunity, but she does do a lot of gymnastics and stuff like tumbling and things like that. So that would be a clever
I'm going to help you out, Jennifer. I'm going to ask you to read the question.
Oh, okay. Which one of these abilities does she not? Okay, I see. You just.
I'm helping you. I'm trying to help you.
Yeah. So which one does she not have?
Does she have enhanced strength, attack immunity?
I don't know what strength is, but I'm assuming you meant strength.
Strength. I don't know.
That's not how you spell strength.
We don't have editors that's qualified. We just roll with what we got.
Can she emit laughing gas like from her breath, or does she have like a Joker device that does it? Like you mean like bad breath?
It would be her own ability.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say advanced strength.
Pulling a Duke Leto.
Yeah, I don't think she has advanced strength. What does BK say? I don't know if BK and I are on terms yet. I don't know if BK and I are cooperating again yet. I'm not sure. But,
you're both saying the same one. So
after you tune me in to what the question actually said, I don't think. Wow, can she? I'll say A, but I wouldn't be surprised if it. I've never seen her emit a laughing gas either, but I'll say A.
All right.
And your answer is C. She cannot emit laughing gas. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure after Taco Bell she can emit some sort of gas. That's more methane than anything. Yeah. Okay. Question number 3. Suicide Squad was Harley's first group affiliation. Was that true or is that false? Did Harley first join? Was her first team to join the Suicide Squad? True or false?
I'm gonna say false. Wasn't she with like those birds or whatever they're called?
Birds.
Flock of seagulls.
Yeah, wasn't she with Flock of Seagulls when they toured in the 80s? I'm gonna say false because what is it? Prey? Something prey? Birds of prey?
Oh,
like that?
BK's coming at you there, Jedi. Careful.
Well, BK say no enhanced strength. Hey, don't come at me. It's coming at you.
She has strength.
Yeah, we don't. We're not quite sure what that is, so it's hard to say she doesn't have it. Yeah, I'm gonna say false on this one because I know she was with Birds of Prey, whether before or after. I don't know. God dang it! No wonder Bruce for calling sick tonight.
All right.
Hey, and your answer is false. She was with the Gotham City Sirens.
That's what I meant. Gotham City Sirens.
That's the one I meant. That's it right there.
That's the one with the chick, the girl group. You know, the Bengals.
Cranky and Marshall.
The Bengals. All right. Question 4. What was the controversy with this cover of Suicide Squad #1 from the New 52? Is it was it Harley's new outfit? Was it the use of the dinosaur in the background? Did her face look too mannish? Or was it just too sexy of a look?
If they thought that face was mannish, that one cover that's on the outside looking in will blow them away. Our new outfit, what was the controversy? So this is a controversy. In other words, people were talking.
People were, I will tell you that people were writing in and were very, very angry about this at this time.
Okay, can I ask some questions?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Prior to this, was she always the jester type costume? Is this the first time she wasn't in her like jester?
I can't say to whether or not this was the first time that they had her out of the jester costume, but that might have something to do with it.
Okay, I'm gonna say D. She looked too sexy.
Okay, what do we got in the chat? Anyone
The use of a dinosaur pissed people off. Like, what's the dinosaur doing on there? Where's my pen? I'm writing my congressman.
There you
go. Let's see. BK says A. Harley's new outfit. That could be the same thing, right? A and D can kind of be like hand in hand.
Maybe.
I'm going to stick with D.
You stick with D?
Yeah, why not?
All right, the answer is D. It's the sexual depiction of Harley Quinn was causing a stir amongst comic book buyers and readers. They said she looked too sexy. And then 5 years later, that's all they did was draw her sexy. So.
Now it's like, she's not sexy enough.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Hard to believe that was ever a complaint.
According to Wikipedia, the whoever created her was getting death threats, but via the post office. So,
damn.
Okay. Question number 5, the last question of the night. Which of the following pictures is Margot Robbie? This is kind of a cosplay question.
Which one on the right is an actual person? That's not like an AI generated thing?
As an actual person.
Damn.
Which one of these is Margot Robbie?
Ooh. I want to say the one on the left because I didn't even think the one on the right was a real person. Damn. But that doesn't look really. It looks like Margot Robbie on the left, though. Yeah, is neither? Can you say neither? It's got to be one or the other, right?
Well, no, I only asked which of the following.
Remember, it's Styx trivia.
That's why I asked. You know what? I'm gonna say the one on the right because just something about the one on the left doesn't really look like Margot Robbie. It's something in the eyes. The eyes don't look like Robbie. So, but the one on the left don't even look like a real person. But I'll go with the one on the right doesn't even look like a real person. So,
all right.
I'll say.
And your answer is that neither is.
Wait a minute! You said that we couldn't say that.
Say that.
You know what? Your microphone. When I asked you that question, you said something. I saw your lips moving, but your microphone cuts out, which I now think you have a foot pedal that does that on purpose.
Styx has a microphone whammy bar.
that last one don't count. That last one don't count. Because I remember asking because I saw people putting neither in the chat, like Brucifer, and I asked the question, and you said I wouldn't do
Yeah,
that or something like that.
Crucifer.
Your lips were moving.
Damn
I
it,
thought
Crucifer.
I don't read lips.
Throwing that in there. Yeah, neither of those were Margot Robbie. Thank you for playing along with Styx trivia tonight.
Yeah.
I hope you had fun.
Thank you.
Oh, boo.
Boo.
We love it. We love it. All right. Now we can go through all of these fun covers of Harley.
Good, because now I got to make a head call.
I couldn't believe how many covers she is actually on. She hasn't been a character for that long. But man, she has a ton of covers. A ton of covers. And you really didn't start to get like crazy number of variants and stuff like that until more recently as well. So let's get into it. So, of course, that Batman Adventures 12 is the non-canon appearance of Harley. She also appears on the cover of Batman Adventures 28, if you're looking for some of those early appearances. And then you have Mad Love, which is a collection, but it's great Bruce Timm art. Always goes for a nice little bit of money as well. So if you're a Bruce Timm collector,
that one technically is a reprint.
Yep. So, yeah, because it. Well, there
was a children's book that had that. It was.
Oh yeah, the little square bound one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That little square bound book goes for quite a bit as well, but it's always in destroyed condition. Yeah. It's impossible to find that thing in great shape. There was a fun little Harley and Ivy series as well. Again, if you like Bruce Timm, there's some really great covers in here as well, where you have her with Harley and Ivy. She appears in like the Batman and Robin Adventures, Batgirl Adventures. You don't get big cover appearances of her, but you do get her showing up in the background. Of course, the Batgirl Adventures book always goes for a good bit of money. But even this Batman and Robin Adventures with Poison Ivy on the cover there, you got Harley in the back. It's an early Harley appearance. There's also a DCU variant of it as well. Shout out to Bruce. So there's some money in those books as well. There was the Gotham Girls series, also fantastic. There's great covers. It's only 8-9 issues of Gotham Girls, but each issue is just a really, really fun, great cover as well. Yeah, of course, Bruce has it, 898. Again, you don't have a ton of covers of her in Batman Adventures and some of these other Batman animated series books, but you do get a few every now and then, and you get the her and Mr. J there in the Batman Adventures 3 and 16, so you kind of get that fun love story in there as well. I also didn't realize how many of these Batman Adventures and weird variants of the Batman animated series books there were as well going through this. But the Batman Gotham Adventures does have some fun covers of her as well. There was also at one point a crossover. I didn't even know this existed either. There was a crossover with The Mask. So there's a crossover with the Joker and The Mask. And you got a couple good Harley covers on there as well. A little more spicy for the Batman animated universe, Harley.
Yeah.
And then you finally get her in continuity in that Batman and Harley Quinn. So she's brought in. She's still jester dressed. She's not super sexy Harley yet. She's still rocking the full jester outfit within this. These detective, what is it, 831, I think 832. Great black and white covers of Harley as well. You get her popping up because she didn't have her own title yet. So she would randomly kind of pop up. There was kind of this one of those 23.2 when DC Comics did all that weird crap with the .2s. There was a Harley cover there. Joker's Asylum, you had a Harley Quinn book there as well. And she pops up in Action Comics. And she shows up in a handful of books as a side character, but she doesn't have a ton of covers early on in continuity. Pops up in a couple of the older Catwoman books. Nice little cover appearances there. It's a fun little minor appearance there, just on the Joker staff there. That's Superman, but she's in the guts of the book. And then finally, she gets her own title. There's some really nice Terry Dodson covers within this series. And it's a good run. It runs, 38, 39 issues. And then you start to get a more sexy Harley with your Gotham Sirens. Again, this is her first kind of official team up with a team. She pops in Birds of Prey, but she's not really in Birds of Prey as much. But Gotham City Sirens, and she shows up, of course, in Suicide Squad. But Gotham City's
chest on that one on the right looks weird.
She's headlights.
No, it looks like
gotta watch your eyes.
It's like flat on top.
It's sharp. Sharp. Look out. Again, the Gotham City Siren series has some really great covers in it. It's a fun series to get through. That Jim Ballant run of Catwoman is good. And then she pops up in the Suicide Squad, and there's your hot and heavy Harley.
She's
there
too sexy
with her tits out and man face. And again, she appears in that Suicide Squad run quite a bit. And then you get one of my favorite runs of Harley is when Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti start taking over, and you start to get more of a fun Harley. You kind of had the silly Mr. J with the animated stuff, and kind of had a bit of a darker Harley and some of the other stuff a little bit.
Who did the one in the middle? Is
that is Adam Hughes.
Hardy?
That one is that's
Hughes. Okay.
That's probably third or fourth on the list of pricey Harley books.
You see that one homage sometimes, or
it definitely gets homaged quite a bit, but always goes for a good bit of money. I love the way Amanda draws Harley, and her and Jimmy together, I thought, put together a really good Harley Quinn run that kind of defined the character of what she is now. That first run had some fun little B covers as well, and you had the Batman 66 covers are a lot of fun. I like to hunt for those every now and then because you get some fun ones in there, and of course any of the Bombshell covers I always purchase.
I used to have that one right there in like a 9. I had it graded like a 9.6. I sold it. I don't have it anymore. It's a nice cover.
Yeah, I collect all the Bombshell covers anytime I see them. You get the one on the left, a great Darwin Cook. Darwin Cook had a whole series of these
the
landscaped covers, which is it's a fun hunt to try to hunt down all the Darwin Cook covers with the landscape covers. Because number one, they're good covers. Number two, Darwin Cook is since passed, so you're not getting any more Darwin Cook art. And Darwin Cook is so underrated as an artist. He should have the cachet that Bruce Timm has in terms of what his work goes for. Bruce Timm still carries a premium. I think at some point more people will discover Darwin Cook, and he'll get his day in the sun. I like the old Jailhouse Rock.
Yeah, that's cool.
Movie poster as well. And again, once you started to get into this, you finally started to get some store exclusives. You started to get some more variants. Oh, a little bit of a echo there. You got a nice bombshell close-up cover there, which is a store exclusive. You got the Harley's Little Black Book as well. Great Bruce Timm cover, and you had several variants of that too in color.
Mm-hmm. I have that one in the middle. I like that one in the middle.
That's the monsters. The monsters covers I like chasing runs of things, and when they did these monster covers, they had some good ones across a lot of the titles. Some fun covers.
There's a Batman and Robin one that's where they're werewolves. I have that one as well. I like that one.
Yeah, I think I have one of the Nightwing ones. Like I said, this was just a good run. You got the best of kind of the playful Harley and the sexy Harley at the same time. Nowadays with the covers, it's mostly just all sexy Harley. Every now and then they'll throw the fun one in if Amanda's doing a cover, but people tend to go for the sexy one. I like the nice marriage of the really silly Harley and then also kind of sexy Harley.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you got some more bombshells on the annual there. You had a fun Convergence cover there.
Captain Carrot.
Yep. You had a little crossover with Power Girl.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of these series, there's so many little weird Harley Quinn series that are out there that's like, oh, this ran 3 episodes, this ran 6 issues, this ran 3 issues. But there is Harley Quinn's Gang of Harleys, which has some fun covers in it as well. There's a Valentine's Day special, which is a good Batman cover on there. She runs in again with the Suicide Squad, with the next volume of Suicide Squad. You had some of those Harley's Little Black Book crossovers as well. I love the Green Lantern cover. It's just
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just one of those fun ones that you're not going to see very often. Her with a lot of characters outside of the kind of the Bat universe and stuff like that.
The can of mellow yellow.
You had her on a few Injustice covers.
Looks like she has super strength on that one cover.
Yeah.
Just saying.
You have
Strength.
You had a great Adam Hughes series for Harley and Ivy and Betty and Veronica. So you got a great Hughes cover there in the middle. Got a Dan Parent cover there. So if you want your Dan Parent Harley Quinn, you can get it there to get your Archie fix. There were some fun variants within that series of some fun artists as well. It's a nice Jay Lee cover on the far left. You got a nice Jen Bartel in the middle. Now's when things with Rebirth is when things got absolutely crazy with Harley. I believe this series had more number ones than I had ever seen at that time with a number one going out. There were so many number one covers and exclusives for this Harley Quinn number one Rebirth. It's crazy. And the first one there, you got a Sienkiewicz cover. The one on the far right, you got an Art Germ cover. You got an Allred cover there on the far left, which is fun.
Yeah,
there were just so many. I mean, these are all just variants of number one. It was crazy how many there were. You got a Michael Turner there in the middle. The one on the far left is a Del Otto. And then within this series, you got one of my favorite artists who did a ton of the covers as well. In a lot of this run, you would have Amanda Connor do the A cover, and you would have Frank Cho B covers. The Frank Cho B covers are always hilarious. I love all of them. And I love the Frank Cho always throws a wiener dog in there. Well, shout out to Liberty Meadows. Frank Cho, like Amanda Connor, always seems to be able to capture kind of the sexy yet also funny side of characters when he's drawing them. The one in the middle and the far right, those are Tedesco covers. So if you're a Tedesco fan, I'm a Tedesco fan. Those are some really nice Harley covers. You got Hughes there in the middle, Derek Chew there. I think they're bookended. I think those are both Derek Chews on the left and the right. And again, you just started to get a lot of variants everywhere with Harley stuff, which was fun. You got a lot of different artists. That's a J. Scott Campbell on the far left. I think that might be a Zerdy in the middle. That or it's a Sanders. You had the Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy series that had a handful of connecting covers, which were fun, of Harley and Poison Ivy, which was fun. Got a nice Mark Brooks on the far right there. Yeah, a few little one-offs here and there. Yeah, the Tis the Season to be freezing. Fun little cover there. The that Night Terrors, when Night Terrors had the little series there. There was a Poison Ivy that had a nice Harley on the cover. She also popped up in the most recent run of Catwoman. The current series, again, is just eye candy. It's a pure eye candy book. I have trouble reading anything between the covers of the new Harley series. It's the writing. It leaves a little bit to be desired at times, but there's definitely plenty of eye candy in the new Harley series. There's a Zerdy on the left for you there, Jedi. But they've definitely started to let a lot more artists get in there and run through a lot of these. Warren Lau has been doing a lot of exclusives for Harley.
Who's that on the right? Is that Sosa?
Yeah, that's Sosa Mike on the far right. That's Hughes in the middle, and it's Warren Lau on the left. I had to throw in a Nakayama for Pete, right there in the middle. The most recent run had a few throwback homages as well. I believe there were 3 of them. This was my favorite, 18. I got some lyrics there in the middle. It doesn't look like Harley, but I still love this Warren Lau cover on the far right.
Damn, so real looking.
Yeah. I must admit I do have a copy of that. And I also enjoy any covers that she has where Bud and Lou are on there.
Costello?
Her
the hyenas.
dogs.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
her hyenas. So Frizen, within this most recent title, did some outstanding Harley covers. So all you Frizen fans, get ready because there's some Frizen covers.
That's not Frizen on the left though, just the other two, right?
Yeah, the far left is Chew, I believe. The two on the right are Frizen. Yes, I agree. I can't read anything Tini Howard's doing. Book ended some Frizens there around a Sweeney Boo cover. I had to throw in the Sweeney Boo cover just because it's a Zatanna cover. I have a soft spot for any of the Zatanna covers. But there is a great run. I mean, it's a very nice run of Frizen covers of Harley.
Yeah, she's done a lot of those. A lot.
Yeah. I mean, she normally has her run on a book. She'll do a bunch of the Catwoman covers, and she moves over and will do a bunch of Harley covers and moves around. I like these whenever they do these kind of like pulp novel style covers. It's always fun, and it's fun to have Frizen do one as well.
That one done by that was the Tony Fleece one, right?
This one on the far right,
the pulp one.
No, that's Frizen. That's Frizen.
Is that Frizen as well? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, if you're a Frizen fan, there's plenty of Harley there to pick up that's newer and recent. None of this stuff is that old, so it's all very accessible.
There's the dinosaur again.
Yeah, it's a good dinosaur cover.
It's not Frizen. I don't know who that is. It's not Frizen.
No, the middle one's not Frizen. It's Matahani, I believe, or something along those lines. And then I just wanted to grab some fun random ones. There's the Harley Quinn Uncovered one. I like Crisis homages, especially if they're a little bit funny. So that's always a good one. Can never go wrong with Bruce Timm. I believe the first giveaway I had on the show, I gave away this book in the middle there, the Harley Quinn 30th anniversary, the Bruce Timm one.
Mm-hmm.
You got another Frizen on the far right there. I'll give it to her. So some of the covers look a little derivative, but she still mixes it up. So that 30th anniversary, you also had a great Hughes cover, Stefan Savage cover, great Ivan Tao cover. And then to kind of close things out, if you want to go Elseworlds again and get your Harley fix of a different type of Harley, I highly, highly, highly recommend reading any of the Curse of the White Knight books, any of the Murphyverse of the Batman stuff is fantastic. It's complete Elseworlds kind of story. You can pick them up from the beginning and read through them. The art is great. The stories are great. And this Harley, who is the original Harley, is a very interesting character. I enjoy reading this a lot. One of my favorite panels of all of DC is from the Murphyverse when Batman sees her and she's pregnant, and he goes, "You're pregnant," and she just looks at him and goes, "World's greatest detective." It's fantastic. It's good stuff. So I will say I think some of the best DC stuff was written within this Elseworlds, the Murphyverse for Batman. And then just some fun candy. There's if you're a Momoko fan, Batman Adventures Continue. She had a couple Harley covers in there. You had another Sozomaika cover on Catwoman 43, which I think this was her first, the Polaroid one. Or no, this is the second Polaroid one. And then you had another Michael Turner one where she's more modern Harley, not the old Harley. And of course, had thrown some more Zerdy for Jedi.
Carla in there too.
Yeah, I threw a Carla in there. Zerdy loves his exclusives where he does the tattoo stuff. I like them at first. I still kind of enjoy them because it's really fun just to kind of look at the tattoos because they're great, more old school Batman Adventures tattoos that are on her. So
he was talking. I was watching something, and Zerdy was talking about drawing tattoos, and he says he never cut and paste the tattoos. They're always different from one cover to the other. He doesn't just like, you know what I mean, like crop or cut and paste from one. He said they're always, every time he does tattoos, they're all original drawings. They're not cut and paste from old.
They look. I mean, the covers do look really slick. I get a little tired of a gimmick after a while with especially with exclusives because it's like, oh, do I really want to spend $20 for an exclusive to see another tattoo cover? But they do look slick. Yeah, I did leave out the one rose Besh cover out of there as well. There was a lot I had to go through. There was a lot I had to leave off that I would have liked to have put in, but it's only so many hours in the day. I did throw in a Lobos in there. I did throw in a Greg Horn, and I did have to throw in a Will Jack in there as well. So. And that is our look at Harley. Whew.
Quite an extensive expose.
Yes.
A lot of Harley. You got your Harley feel for you Harley collectors and enthusiasts.
It's fun to walk through and see all the different looks and team ups and personas of Harley. Definitely a mainstay of DC nowadays. So
yeah.
Good times. All right. Are we ready to do some music, boys?
Oh, this next segment has me nervous.
Nah.
I don't know. I mean, Joe, you weren't on the show. I don't even remember what the name of the show was.
Oh, but I was in the chat. I was in the chat for that.
I don't think Styx was even on the show yet.
I was not on the show yet. I was in the chat as well.
Yeah, we had the artist formerly known as Lopez on here. And things got nasty for the Jedi.
Oh.
So when Joe brought this up earlier in the week, he's like, "Hey, let's do a music segment." I was like, "Oh my God, let me put on my iron underwear and just go to work. Let's do it."
I felt this one would be a little more open for people because you're just really picking, hey, I love this 3-year block of music. And there were these great albums that came out. It's, so we don't have to fight over Guns and Roses as to whether they
turned out so. So when when Joe and I were first talking about it, Joe was actually, just pitching the idea. He was very open. Like he's like, do whatever you want. It has to be within a 3-year consecutive span. But hey, you can throw everything and put the kitchen sink in there as much as you want, as little as you want, whether or not you want to do albums, videos, singles, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh my God, if you let Dom loose with something like that, this is going to be a nightmare. Luckily, Dom is not here.
Which is probably a good thing because I would have had to put it all together in slides.
Yeah, but it was harder than I thought. Even though So anyway, we'll just move forward. It was I started off. I set a limit, and then I quickly expanded that limit. So my years were 84 through 86, which was probably my sophomore and senior year. I graduated in 87. That was the year Van Halen came out with 5150, Hot for Teacher,
1984,
all that, 84, yeah. And then moving on,
we won't be spurchify Van Halen with Van Hagar.
Yeah. No, I think we're going to get some Van Hagar later, maybe, but maybe. And then we can move on to Dokken. I've talked about Dokken being one of my favorite bands before. So I naturally, when they came out with Tooth and Nail, that was definitely going to be on there. Autograph, Turn Up the Radio, kind of a one-hit wonder. Autograph was. I think they did have a couple more albums, but Turn Up the Radio was their one and only real hit. But it was a good one.
In the 80s.
It's a song that I still listen to today, actually, Turn Up the Radio. So it was a good song. It was a good one hit.
It's played a lot.
Yeah. Quiet Riot, probably not their second. It's probably their third album. It was probably their second album that actually, they were kind of still riding the waves of Metal Health. This has got Mama We're All Crazy Now, which was also done by Slade. But this is not as good as Metal Health, but still, I'm a big Quiet Riot fan. Twisted Sister, one of the more underrated albums, I think, that came out. Obviously, you've got We're Not Gonna Take It, but there's a lot of good songs on that album as well. Rat, Out of the Cellar.
Great album.
That was a great album. Bon Jovi. This has got Runaway. I still think Runaway is probably Bon Jovi's best song to this day. I still love that song to this day.
Good song.
This is kind of early Bon Jovi. Dio, Last in Line. I've told the story before. Me and my brother went out and we went to Walmart and bought the cassette. We popped in Last in Line, and it started off. It's got that slow intro. And we just kind of looked at each other like, what the fuck did we just buy, man? What is this? And then it hits, and we're like, "Oh!" We're just like slamming our head against the dashboard of our Grand Prix, 1976 Grand Prix.
Nice.
Kiss, big Kiss fan. Not a huge Kiss fan, but I do like Kiss even after they took the makeup off. I like this. I like Kiss. Scorpions, Love at First Sting. I fell in love with this album cover along with the. Along with Rock You Like a Hurricane and a lot of the other songs on here.
At that age, there was a lot of eye candy on an
album. Yeah, this was hot. This was in the days before internet porn and all that other stuff. This was hot back then, So
yeah.
Then we have Sammy Hagar. Basically the song on the I Can't Drive 55. If you don't know that song, then I don't know where you've been. Everybody knows that song. Purple Rain. This is the album that made me expand from 10 to 15 albums for this year because I had to have Purple Rain on here and I couldn't get it to fit. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to add more albums. So Purple Rain, great. Probably one of my favorite albums as well.
Yes.
I think that was on one of the albums I Would Take on a Desert Island segment that we did. I think I had Purple Rain on there. Steve Perry, Oh Sherry. I love Journey. My kids will tell you Journey is my favorite band. I mean, I would tell you it's Quiet Riot, but I listened to a lot of Journey when my kids were younger, when we would be driving to the beach and stuff. So they know Journey. And Steve Perry, the guy they have now from the Philippines, is a great singer. Steve Perry is Journey for me.
He's a acceptable Steve Perry knockoff.
Yeah. And then Oh Sherry, I thought was just a great song. Chicago. This is probably my first introduction to Chicago because I didn't really get into a lot of the early Chicago until later.
Chicago's a hell of a band, man.
Chicago was, they had great horns, but earlier they had a lot of great horns in their earlier stuff. But this is where for me at least, where I started listening to Chicago and shoot, I can't think of the guy's name now, but yeah. And then what is this? This is the Cars, I think. I think that's the Cars.
Yes, it's later Cars. I actually have some Cars on mine as well.
Yeah, so the Cars.
We don't have time
obviously know the top 40. Yeah, so I like listening to the Cars. Cars is by no means one of my favorite bands, but this was a song that I listened to a lot, growing up. So 85, Motley Crue, Theater of Pain, Smoking in the Boys' Room. AC/DC, Fly on the Wall. My brother would kill me if I didn't have at least one AC/DC album on this list.
Yeah, you got to have it on there.
Continuing on with Bon Jovi, and then Night Ranger, Sister Christian, all that kind of stuff. Night Ranger is a good album. Heart, I listened to a lot of Heart. I'm not ashamed to say I listened to Heart.
That's all right.
This is kind of more, I don't know, maybe I was dating somebody at the time and I don't know, had my heart broken. Maybe Rat, Lay It Down, all that kind of stuff. Kiss, more Kiss. Came out with Asylum. Tears Are Falling, I think, was on this album. Wasp wasn't. I tried to be a fan of Wasp, but Wasp was a hard band for me to like until they came out with Blind in Texas. I like that song a lot. I think that's what this album had, Blind in Texas on it. And then how did this end up on there twice? But I don't think I think we already covered that one. Y&T, another kind of a Y&T had a lot of songs that were really good, but this one I think had Summertime Girls, which was just kind of a summer song, you know.
I'm familiar with them.
Summertime Girls was a good song. Probably the only Y&T song that I can really remember off the top of my head, but I think they had others. There were Y&T fans out there. Phil Collins, this was a song that probably everybody was listening to on the radio. Loverboy, this is another album that I listen to this day. I was still just listening to Strike Zone probably earlier this week as I drove around. And then Run DMC, one of probably my favorite rap duo or trio. This had King of Rock, a lot of heavy, you know, when I started getting into my heavy bass rap phase. And then we have, can't remember the name of the album because my eyes are bad, but another Prince album that had Raspberry Beret on it. That song alone is enough to make this album on this. I love that song. And then, you know, if you were watching MTV back in the days, Money for Nothing, Chicks for Free, that was what we all aspired to. By Dire Straits.
That's funny. I have a Dire Straits album on my list as well.
David Lee Roth. This is just a fun album. And I like the guitarist. I can't remember the guitarist's name, but the way he made the guitar talk on that, I thought was just fascinating back in the day. Judas Priest. My brother was probably more of a Priest fan than I was, but I did like this Judas Priest album. Like Cinderella.
Didn't have a nice tight leather vest.
Yeah, no, I didn't have the studded leather vest with the bracelets and all. I didn't do all of that. I did go to a school in Texas, so I had to be careful how far I went. Cinderella, another good band that I didn't like a lot of Cinderella songs, but I did like this album for the most part. Rat, I was a big Rat fan, still am to this day. Now we get into Sam. This is probably this is Van Hagar, right? If I remember right.
Yes. To me, I think they should have changed the band's name when Hagar came over. And I know
it was right there, Van Hagar. I don't know why he couldn't do it.
And I know people like the Hagar Van Halen, and it's fine. I do too.
I like him. But I prefer Van Halen. I prefer you know, David Lee Roth.
If you listen to Hot for Teacher and then listen to something that Sammy Hagar is singing and Van Halen, you're like, yeah, I gotta go back to Diamond Days.
Sammy Hagar had some great songs. Single, like he did the Fast Times at Richmond High. He did the song Metal for that movie. I can't think of the name of it now, but anyway, Sammy Hagar kind of mellowed out, I think, when he joined Van Halen a little bit. His solo stuff was heavier, I thought, but I don't know why they didn't change the name. I mean, Eddie Van Halen was a little bit of an egomaniac. I think he was kind of the alpha personality. He probably wasn't going to allow it. So Poison. Styx likes Poison because he wants CC DeVille on his band.
I do.
I like Poison growing up. I like later Poison stuff too. They had some good stuff even after they kind of lost their grip on fame. Eddie Money, liked Eddie Money a lot. He got me through some tough times.
Mm-hmm. I like Eddie Money. Rest in peace.
When I got dumped. Ozzy Osbourne. I got to have Oz on there, at least one. Queen. This was kind of my first introduction into Queen too. I didn't know a lot of the early Queen stuff until I'd listened. This is pretty much the soundtrack to Highlander. This album.
Yep.
So great songs on here. Kind of introduced me to Queen and got me, go back and listen to some of the earlier stuff too. Like I said, Journey, big Journey fan. Again, Bon Jovi. The thing about Bon Jovi is I always felt like Bon Jovi, love them or hate them, they adapted well as kind of music trends changed. They kind of changed with it, which I think really helped them.
I feel soft now. I feel soft now, being like, yeah, I loved.
They're almost country now in a way, but I don't even know if they're still making music. But
I think so.
And then we got Genesis, the video for shoot, what was the claymation video they did with Reagan and shoot,
Land of Destruction or World of Destruction?
Somebody in the chat.
Land of Confusion. Land of Confusion.
Land of Confusion. Yeah, that claymation video alone is enough to get this album on there. I can't count how many times I'm sure I saw that.
Genesis was a tight band. I mean, they were a good band.
38 Special, great Southern rock band that I again listened to earlier this week. I did not grow them. They have so many good songs that it's hard to even keep track. Tesla's a great band. Modern Day Cowboy, etc. Georgia Satellites. I don't know if anybody even remembers Georgia Satellites except for me sometimes. I still listen to Georgia Satellites a lot, actually. Probably of all the bands I've listed on here so far, I probably listen to Georgia Satellites more than on Keep Your Hands to Yourself, Battleship Chains, just a great like country Southern rock style band. I'm sure they're not doing anything, but probably one of the better bands of the rock bands of the 80s that not a whole lot of people were listening to, other than they had that Keep Your Hands to Yourself song.
Yeah, I'll listen to that, and then I move over to some George Thorogood.
So that's all. We'll leave it with it. How many 60-year-old ladies have a slippery when wet tattoo? Probably too many to count.
Probably too many, and the placement of that tattoo is very questionable.
But that's it. A lot of work, but it was fun. I got through it quickly.
It was a fun. I thought it was a fun exercise to go through and just narrow it down to 3 years. And once you start digging into those years, you're like, oh yeah, oh shit, oh yeah. So I did not do as many per year, but I did 8 per year.
Again, it's hard to believe. I'm actually older than Joe, but his stuff is always older.
To me, the punk and the post-punk and new wave movement was that's my sweet spot for music. That's what I will always go back to. It's what I always listen to at any time. It's something I never get tired of. So television, Marky Moon, it was Tom Verlaine. It's one of the best albums ever that was put out there. Next, Richard Hell and the Voidoids, Blank Generation, the true kind of real beginning of fun punk rock. Wire, Pink Flags, Mannequin is one of the best songs out there. This album is considered like one of the top albums of all time. It's fantastic. Saints, I'm Stranded, Australian punk, post-punk band, fantastic. I don't know why they don't get more play and more knowledge from the in the US, but they are a pretty well-known band from that time and have some really, really great music. I had to throw some Talking Heads on there because the goddamn Talking Heads, it was something just completely different.
It's the first band you've lived that I've heard of.
Yeah.
Ramones Rocket to Russia. It's like I said, everything from that 77 period. So many of these bands played at CBGB's, which is the crazy thing that this little club, in New York had so many of these amazing, amazing bands come through and play. X-Ray Specs, On Bondage, female punk rock singers. X-Ray Specs were by far top notch. Had to throw some Parliament Funkadelic on there as well, because George Clinton's George Clinton. There's just nothing. There's nothing like Parliament. I don't care. I don't care what kind of music you listen to, how weird music is. There's nothing like George Clinton and the Parliament Funkadelic. Going into 78, one of my favorite albums of all time, Devo's Are We Not Men, which is fantastic. The later Devo stuff I enjoy. I have a full collection of Devo stuff, but their earlier stuff is amazing. They were all such amazing musicians. People don't seem to get that because people just see a Whip It video and that's what they stick with. Reckless Eric, Whole Wide World is one of my favorite songs of all time. So I had to throw that on there. Buzzcocks had What Do I Get single at that time as well. Police, you can't go wrong with the Police. Probably one of the most talented 3-person bands that you'll see out there that had such a extremely short-lived career. You know, they put out their, 3 albums or so and done. They left at the top. They broke up at the top. Sting went and did his thing. Stuart Copeland went and did his thing. Andy Summers went and did his thing. But it was just one of those great confluences of 3 amazing musicians that came together, put together some great music, started to hate each other, and just left. And that was that. Elvis Costello and the Attractions. You can't go wrong with Elvis Costello. I had to throw some Patti Smith in there as well because it's just from that era. Patti Smith is just a badass lady. The single for Sultans of Swing came out, so I had to throw some Dire Straits in there because I do love Dire Straits. I can listen to Dire Straits anytime, especially in the car. If Dire Straits comes on and I'm driving, and I'm normally driving in the vehicle by myself, I dig it. And I had to throw some Kraftwerk on there because you have to hand it to Kraftwerk. Really being one of the founders of electronic music, and their videos are just the best thing ever. They're hilarious. Just weird German guys making electronic music. And finally, into 79, Joy Division, one of the greatest bands of all time. Unknown Pleasures, one of the best albums ever. In 79, I had to throw Stiff Little Fingers on there because they are just a great punk band that just, I don't know. They had British punk that wasn't like Johnny Rotten and the Sex Pistols type punk that was more pure and streets. I love Stiff Little Fingers. It's great. And Candio, Cars, one of my favorite Cars albums. I love the Cars. I love Rick Ocasek. He ended up producing a lot of great albums after that as well. So I love Cars. Cars are a great band. I really love the Modern Lovers, which is before this era with Jonathan Richman. But then you had Modern Lovers break up, and one guy went to the Cars, another one went to the Talking Heads, and it was the birth of a lot of great bands. Clash, I had to put London Calling on. I could have put the Clash's original album in because that was in 77 or 78. But London Calling's just a good, solid album all around. Dead Kennedys. Now, their official album came out in 80, I believe, but their single for California Uber Alice did come out in 79. I had to throw, although I'm calling it a curveball, Jedi's looking at me like, aren't these all curveballs?
No, I'm laughing at Ed's comment. Like, Rick was butt ugly, but he married a beautiful model.
He did. Pauline Porsko. I had to throw Teenage Jesus and the Jerks on there. It's a haunting album cover. And it is one of the weirdest, just noise albums that you could ever possibly listen to. It's unlike anything one will ever listen to. It's definitely an acquired taste, but it's something I enjoy every now and then. And I had to throw the specials on there. I do like old ska, and the specials were the best of the best out there in terms of that British ska movement came through. And last but not least, got to throw the Pretenders on there. I love Chrissy Hine. I could listen to the Pretenders any day of the week. Anytime a Pretender song comes on, I'm happy.
I'm sitting there, and a couple of these I've heard of, but when you first started, I'm like, how is Joe? I mean, like I said, I'm older than Joe by a few years, I think. but Terry nails it right here. Good years for punk, country, and disco.
It was.
So it's this time frame in my life. I am old enough now and confident enough in who I am to say at this point in time, I was probably into disco and the Bee Gees, things like that. My mother, I know country from that era because I used to ride. My mom used to drive us everywhere. Obviously, I was only 8 years old, and she was big time country fan. So I know country. I don't know punk from this era. I just don't.
This is the birth of punk, and there was just so many interesting bands that all just had at the time just a completely unique sound. So many of these bands have been copied since then in one way or another, or heavily influenced other bands and stuff like that. But it's an era of music I like because everything is so different. There's not just kind of a straight across the board, this is what this sounds like, and it all kind of sounds kind of similar. It's all so distinct and different. I dig it.
Yeah. Next, are we going to do because Bruce gave us his picks, and then of course he got sick. We hope he's feeling better. So we told Styx to cover Brucifer's.
I can go through these. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 91 through 93. I mean, this is my last year of the high school, first year of college. Pearl Jam. Great story about Pearl Jam that I have is me and my buddy. I can't remember what album it was, but we were in the middle of freaking nowhere, and we stopped at the store because my friend the new album came out today. Let's try and pick it up while we're out here. So we stopped in the store and we asked them they had Pearl Jam, and the lady obviously didn't know what the hell we were talking about. She sent us back to the jam section. Oh, that's not what we want, lady. So there was no go for that. Pearl Jam had some great music, of course, and then he moved into Iron Maiden. At this time,
loves his Iron Maiden.
I think this is when they were kind of winding down by this time, weren't they? Or did they have a couple more albums after that? Maybe one more after this one. But they were still a hot tour commodity.
Yeah.
At this point,
put a huge freaking Eddie on stage, and people show up.
Temple of the Dog. I don't really remember too much about Temple of the Dog. I think there was one song that they had that I can probably know if I heard it. Sorry, Bruce. I don't know too much about these Stone Temple Pilots. I remember seeing them on. I think they had the MTV Unplugged. I think they were on that one.
Stone Temple Pilots were a good band.
So, Megadeth. The guy was Joey.
Is this the Symphony of Destruction album, or is that a different album? Is that this one?
I think
that's a different album. This one's I can't think of the name of this one.
He had it written, but I was just grabbing pictures. I'm not paid enough. I'm not paid enough to do pictures and words. You get one or the other.
I think the lead singer's name was Joey.
It's Dave. Dave
Mustaine.
Mustaine, yeah.
Oh, Dave Mustaine. Okay, then I'm thinking of someone else. I'm thinking of a different heavy metal group. There was one heavy metal group. The guy's mother lived right down the street from me. It was so long ago I don't remember. Nirvana. They were great for that grunge, and I think had he not taken his life, they would have gone on to do even more better things than they did.
This is
for this time period. I was already in the Navy. My brother and I were stationed together in Seoul, Korea, and we used to go to a club, if you want to call it that. It's called Heavy Metal Club. And of course, they played a lot of heavy metal. Megadeth, Symphony of Destruction was very popular, I think, around that time. Metallica, Sandman, all that kind of stuff. But I always think of that club because God, that club would just look like a tornado went through it, because the people would just trash that club and then they would just straighten the chairs and open up again the next day. It was such a rat hole club, but we went there like every weekend, got drunk. It was nice. The good old days.
Yeah, I just remember. I mean, I was finishing up high school at this time. I just remember when the whole grunge thing started and everything. Everything was very divisive with music. It was like there were Pearl Jam people. The Pearl Jam people didn't like the Nirvana people. The Nirvana people didn't like the Pearl Jam people. The Stone Temple Pilot people were all just smoking darts out the side of the school. It was just
your plaid pattern does not match my plaid pattern.
It was a weirdly fragmented movement of music.
Plaid.
Yeah.
Flannel plaid.
Yep.
Oh my! So what's?
Does he have any more? Or is that it?
This is what Bruce gave me.
Oh, that's all he gave. Okay. Yeah. Good.
Styx. You want to add a few?
I'll just go over like for my era for music. When it comes to music, obviously I'm a big Styx fan, so you get that 70s, even the early 80s stuff when Dennis was still part of the group. Some of the stuff now that they put out with the new singers, they're pretty good. I like them, but it's nothing like when Dennis was there for me. But as far as like music goes, like growing up, my parents were big Beatles fans, so we always had Beatles.
Remember, Styx, you have to pick 3 years.
Yeah, I know. Well,
yeah.
I know. It's hard, it's kind of hard because of the.
When you're 355 years old, 3 years. Is
we went from graduating high school to I lived.
I mean, I could give you the name of the first bard that was walking down the street in Rome, and but I guess for me, the 79 through 80, like 82 era, all the Queen stuff, the Styx stuff, even like Asia. Journey, Boston, stuff like that.
Boston is a significantly underrated band.
They are.
At the time, everybody knew who Boston was, but they've kind of fallen off the face.
They have, and it's unfortunate.
People knowing who they are.
But, unfortunately, being named after a city, you kind of get washed to the side.
They were far better than Kansas.
Yeah. I do like Kansas, but yeah, you're right. Boston is better than Kansas. I mean, then if you go into like the 86 to 88 stuff, when I was just going into high school, that's when I started. Even then, I was still into like country, like Kenny Rogers and stuff like that. And then at that point, and even before, really, I was starting to listen to shows on the radio like Dr. Demento, King Biscuit Flower Hour, which would have just about anything that they would hit a tune, and I love those shows. You get for Dr. Demento, you get bands that were not popular, but you get like the Dead Milkmen on there. There's kind of a brazen new group with their fish heads tune. And you get old stuff like Tom Lehrer and Weird Al, obviously.
Terry brings up a band that they would have been on my list, but I was not as big a fan of
we do what we can.
Annihilator. I think came out in 80. 6, something around there. And I did not like Annihilator as much as I did the previous one, which was I can't think of it, but yeah, great band. But that's why they weren't on my list, because I just
It's funny because so much music is, especially growing up, tends to be a bit regional. Like where I grew up, nobody listened to country music. I mean, I was in Pittsburgh. It's like nobody listened to country music.
I did not have a choice. My mom, Barbara Mandrell, the Statler Brothers, the Oak Ridge Boys,
and I love country music. I listened to the shit out of it. Now, when I ended up being in college, I had a bunch of guys a bunch of friends of mine played. I had one buddy that played banjo, another played mandolin, and they had a bluegrass band and stuff like that. I started getting bluegrass and stuff like that. But I remember my first exposure to country music was I think when I was like 13, my little league coach, I had to catch a ride with him to practice, and he had the biggest beat up piece of shit AMC Hornet with the most beat up tape deck in there, and he played some Hank Sr. And that was my first exposure to country music was Hank Williams Sr.
I was country. When country wasn't cool. I'll never forget this.
Yeah.
Oh my mom.
My problem was I was too.
Hee-haw. Oh my God. Yes. Hee-haw. Every Saturday.
Well, my problem was when at my age, when I was coming up, if you were going to be exposed to music, a lot of times it was on the radio, or maybe a friend would have a tape or something like that. So when I was like early high school and stuff like that, it was all crap country that I had no interest in. It wasn't the good outlaw stuff.
I'm gonna ask Terry, because Terry's very active in the chat. Now you guys probably, if you watch Hee Haw, but we'll let Terry see if he can. What would the reason for a young boy who wasn't necessarily didn't like country music? Why would a young boy watch Hee Haw? Every Saturday with his mom. Watch Hee Haw. Harry, you tell me.
Definitely a good reason to watch Hee Haw.
Yeah, a couple good reasons.
Yeah. Same reason I would watch all those reruns of Dukes of Hazzard. Hee Haw was a good show there. They had some talents on Hee Haw too.
Doom, despair, it's agony on me. Deep dark depression, excessive misery. Oh,
I'm glad everyone enjoyed the exercise. It's fun to have some of these where you kind of got to think it through a bit.
You nailed it, Terry.
Of course it was. Oh man! So if you haven't subbed yet to Redivision or Kingdom of Nerds, please do so. If you like the video tonight, give us a thumbs up. Feel free after the show in the YouTube comments to put in any suggestions you may have for any of the segments. Anything you guys want to see. We like suggestions, because again, that means we have to think less. And
I noticed. I know Brewster wasn't here, but neither was Mama Bear. So Brewster's not here. I guess Mama Bear's a no-show. So I guess now we know where we rank.
Yeah. I guess
we miss you, Mama Bear.
Yeah, I don't care. All right. Well, I know you miss your Bruce, so I apologize.
Not as much as Dom, but I'm sure you do.
I'm sure Bruce will be out with his shows. Not sure if he's still doing Sunday or whether he's moving that to another day or what he's doing with that. But normally he's on Sunday at 7s and then again on Monday at 9. Tomorrow, make sure to watch S&S on Redivision. The boys will be doing their thing that they do on S&S. I'm sure it'll be fun. There's a lot of fun movie news and stuff like that to talk about. So I'm sure those guys will be getting into it.
You never quite know what's going to go on over
there. It's if anything, it's fun to just watch Styx and his expressions while things happen.
Yes, it is.
Sunday, you can catch the guys on Dark Side, everything Star Wars. Are they still playing cards on there, Jedi? Are they still doing the card game?
We usually end the show with we have a little break. We have an intermission for those that aren't interested can jet, and then we'll talk cards for about 30 or 40 minutes at the end of the show. So we do it at the end because we know some people find it boring. Domtober.
I just don't get cards.
Stupid.
Like Boba Fett.
That's what he said in chat. I can hear him say it. It's stupid. You're stupid.
We miss you, Dom. I hope you're having fun with giggles. You deserve some nice alone time with your lady. So
Absolutely.
I hope you're not dragging her to comic shops and guys are having a nice time. Then on Wednesday, make sure to watch the boys on TAC. They've been bringing up a lot of fun X books and fun, interesting X-Men characters and fringe characters from X-Men and some of those appearances. It's fun to go through. And Friday, you loop back around and CBSI Hot 10 and then right back into us. So hope you enjoyed yourself tonight. Hope you guys have a nice weekend. Boys, you got anything close out on?
Wow, over 2.5 hours. Who would have thought? I thought it would be a shorter show without Dom and Bruce for yelling at each other, but we dragged it out. So we did it.
Yeah. It worked. We appreciate you all hanging in there.
Yeah, have a good weekend, everybody.
With our short staff tonight. And I hope you had fun. And we will see you next week.